How young is too young?
Baby, launch a couple missiles toward a place we know and aim 'em at a fella whose first name begins with O. There's one thing we all understand. Al-Qaeda won't be finished until we blow up Pakistan.
Absolutely.
We could chase them round forever with our tanks and all our troops, but special forces are so tired of jumping through them hoops. You know we need another plan, so let's cut out all the nonsense and go blow up Pakistan. Al-Qaeda needs a nuclear tan. Why don't we stop pussyfooting and go blow up Pakistan? Boom, boom.
Let's put it on the calendar for next Monday. What do you say? 10:02 at 560 WQM. Too much sports on that morning show. I just thought I would mention that. Too much sports, Clarence. You idiot. You jackass. He's tied the sports noose around their neck. But that's okay because the checks do clear. See, one of the bad things about this business coming back on, well, the worst thing is the pool business, you know?
Yeah.
I noticed that I hate this pool. We got almost 16% on this pool. Well, you know what? I like the pool, all right? What's wrong with little ass?
Nothing. Right.
What's wrong with a big ass?
Or a lot.
In fact, look how good the Beast is doing on there. So what's wrong with a big ass, a big, fat, pimply ass? What's wrong with these people? But other than that, the next to the pool ideas, it's being involved. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
That summer schedule is great because when you're only on 2 times a week, it's like an afterthought. Like, and the rest of the time, like, who cares about all this crap?
Right.
But now, you're like involved again, you know. Involved with that sales department, involved with Chris Jones. Man, I heard Kenny yesterday talking about pukers. Do you hear that when he's talking about DJs who are pukers on the air? Hey, everybody! What's his name?
Like Ricky Ticky?
Like the booster does sports. He's a sports puker. Well, no, not all the pukers are just rock and roll pukers. They're like Rick Sanchez. He's a news puker.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah. See what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
Well, the Washington, blah, 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 like that, you know. And that's, anyway, what am I talking about with pukers? Enough with that. Makes me want to puke when I think about some of these people. But at any rate, here's the big news today. We are going to take a lot of calls today, aren't we?
Oh, yeah, sure.
No. I don't know. I haven't decided yet. Here's the poll from yesterday before we get into the thing about the Stingrays. Although I still would like to have a 68 Stingray. There's nothing like a Stingray. Not the smoothest running machine, man, but nevertheless. Who do you believe was responsible for the 9/11 attacks we asked yesterday on the anniversary of 9/11? And by the way, we got through the day and everybody's still alive. Oh! Except for those people who croaked overnight. Everybody's still alive. Isn't that great?
It's wonderful.
Who do you believe was responsible for the 9/11 attacks? 1,916 votes. Wow, we had over 1,600 during the show. I bet you that you're still trying to recover from that. Mm-hmm. Do you think you got, like, the flu coming on or something?
No. It's the cold or something.
No.
It's the poll?
It's the poll. Over 1,600 votes during the show. And so I decided to send Josh one news story for each vote that we got. I think that's the way it's going to work from now on.
Yeah, I noticed.
Better watch it. The Bush-Cheney crowd, 724, responsible for 9/11. That includes all the PNAC people, the neocons, the idiots, the lunatics who put the con in neocon. Al-Qaeda, 693. And by the way, that thing in Syria this morning in Damascus, where they tried to take over the U.S. Embassy, they said that was an offshoot of Al-Qaeda.
Huh.
See, I don't know why they keep talking about Al-Qaeda, because it's 5 years later, and I thought that was supposed to be the main objective. You know, we're going to go get them. We're going to smoke them out of their holes. And in the meantime, they're reorganizing. Like the Taliban. Afghanistan is a freaking bloodbath. Any interest?
No.
There's about as much interest about that as there is about the Marlins. 16-5. Wasn't that the score, Josh?
Yeah, I watched it.
16-5. They kicked their ass. And the attendance in the paper says 13,007 something, which means the real number was about 9 or 10. And then if you take off the 2,000 or 3,000 Mets fans that must have been there, right?
Oh, more than that.
Oh, well, so you take that. What do you got? What do you got left? What is with you people, for Christ's sakes? Not that I'm a Marlins fan, but Jesus, build us a new stadium, right? Why do you want to build a stadium when nobody cares? The only people that care are the people who make their livelihood from it, like Dave Van Boring and the other broadcasters. And I use that term loosely, especially in regard to that Rich Waltz guy. Man, that kid is so weak. He is to sportscasting what Katie Couric is to the evening news. And by the way, she's number 3 already. She started out, up there with a 9 share, and then she dropped to a 7, and then down to a 6, and now she's down to a 5-something, and she's number 3 behind. NBC is back on top, as they should be, and Charlie Gibson may not be the greatest because he shakes his head around like an old fuddy-duddy, but he's number 2, and Katie's number 3, and dropping like a rock, like a gigantic stone. Una spina. Solo una spina?
Una spina? Yes.
We'll never know who's responsible for 9/11, say 202 people. Saudi Arabia 178. Those damn Saudis, man. Oh, brother. Grave robbers. I have no idea, 64. I hate this poll, 28. And Saddam Hussein, 27 idiots. 27 people. Bush and Cheney both come on there, and even they admit, well, he had nothing to do with 9/11, and so 27 people, that's probably just a crank vote, wouldn't you think?
I'm
just
sure
a bunch of wise guys. 27 said Saddam Hussein responsible for 9/11. WQAM, hello.
Hey, good morning, Neil.
Yes, sir.
I just want to say thank you. I've been listening for this month makes our 20th year together.
Isn't that sweet?
And I learned a lot.
Happy anniversary, sweetheart.
Thank you, sir. I learned how to spell with Darnell and found out that I can play the trombone without using my hands. So God bless you.
Okay.
Thanks a lot, Neil.
So, okay, stand up straight. Well, he was bending over. I was just thinking before the show today of the Beast getting all these votes on the poll. When the Beast farts, people think it's an earthquake. Remember we supposedly had the earthquake in the Gulf over the weekend?
Right.
6 point, on the Richter scale. No, the Beast just had a bad bowl of grits. He just had some real bad deli, I guess. 777, look at that. 777. Woo! Who has the best ass? So what's wrong with 777?
For what?
Well, these people that say they hate this poll, I don't think there's anything wrong with this poll. We did it once before, and we only gave them a choice way back then, about like 4 or 5 years ago.
Mm-hmm.
We gave them a choice between J-Lo and Britney. And J-Lo still won it, but it was only a 2-person choice. Well, what kind of a choice is that?
Right.
Who has the best ass? We got a whole bunch of choices on here. We could add some more.
And we
J-Lo,
are.
203. See, they don't understand. We didn't ask who's got the biggest ass. We said the best ass. Is there a difference?
Don't tell them what question to answer.
Oh, I'm sorry. You do whatever you like, as long as we get a lot of votes, and then Josh has one story for each vote. J-Lo 203, Angelina Jolie 128. How do you know? You never saw her ass, did you?
Yeah, just
you
this
did?
morning.
What movie was that?
In Gia, you see most of her ass.
Most of her ass.
I said that wrong. You see her ass the most of any other movie, although that's not the only movie.
Harassment a lot to me.
And it did mean a lot.
Poll 122. That's 15.7%. See, that's a very inordinately high number. What did we have yesterday? I hate this poll. Only 1.4%, see? And the day before, I hate this poll. Where the hell is it? I guess I didn't put it on there, did I? Oh, no, that you want to know why? Because that's your poll. You never put it on there, schmuck.
What?
I hate this poll.
No,
that's a must. That's got to be on there every day. It's a depository.
I hate those people.
Well, good. And they hate you like poison, man. They wish that somebody would poison your tacos.
Too late.
Oh. Let's see. Who has the best ass? The Beast, 87. Big, fat, pimply. I mean, the thought of it makes me nauseous. Mariah Carey, 80. Britney, 46. Tom Brady, 39. He's right on Britney's ass. Sofia Vergara, 26. Oprah's got 22. Now, that, again, has got to be the biggest ass, not the best. Can you even imagine?
Good God.
Tom Cruise has got 16, and I'm sure it's had plenty of use. Brady Quinn, 11. See, they don't know who Brady Quinn is. He got my vote, though. Hey, Brady. Vita Guerra, 2.
Yeah.
Now, who did I leave off of here? And Jessica Biel's got 1. She's got an ass.
These are people faxing and emailing it and all that.
Well, nothing wrong with that. We're open for any ass that you like. 786. What?
We'll take any.
That's why we asked you the question in the first place. 794. They're coming in chunks now, man. The votes are coming in gigantic chunks. That is special. Almost as special as that sales department back there. And you notice how Chris Jones now gives it the old... Did you see that routine he pulled this morning?
What?
The old hit and run routine?
Oh, yeah. Well, he knew we were coming up on Showtime.
Right. And they might be asked some serious questions like, who the hell are you kidding, man? Are you kidding somebody? Well, this new Joe Bell regime, man, he is certainly destined to put us over the top. You know what I'm saying? Over the top. 10 stingrays slain since Irwin's death. This could be the most important story in history. Because I think this shows a lot about human nature. At least 10 stingrays have been slain since crocodile hunter Steve Irwin was killed by one of the fish, an official said today. One of the fish is a stingray a fish?
Yes. If it has gills, it's a fish.
How about Hal Gill, the new defenseman for the Leafs?
Who?
Prompting a spokesman for the late TV star's animal charity to urge people not to take revenge on the animals. They didn't do it. They had nothing to do with it. Yeah.
Kill them all.
Irwin died last week when a stingray barb pierced his chest as he recorded a show off the Great Barrier Reef.
Crikey.
Slain stingrays have since been discovered on 2 beaches in Queensland State on Australia's eastern coast. 2 were discovered today with their tails lopped off. Fisheries Department official Wayne Sumpton said fishermen who inadvertently catch the diamond-shaped rays sometimes cut off their tails to avoid being stung, but the practice was uncommon. Stingrays often are caught in fishing nets by mistake and should be returned to the sea, Sumpton said. Back to the sea. Michael Hornby, the executive director of Irwin's Wildlife Warriors Conservation Group, said he was concerned the rays were being hunted and killed in retaliation for Irwin's death. How do you like that? We're going to get even with you bastards. It may be some sort of retribution, or it may be fear from a certain individual, or maybe just yet another callous act toward wildlife, he said. He said killing stingrays was not what Steve was all about. No, Steve was about dangling his little kid in front of a crocodile. We're disgusted and disappointed people would take this sort of action to hurt wildlife, he said. Stingrays are usually shy, unobtrusive fish that rummage the sea bottom for food or burrow into the sand. They want to mind their own business. But, you know, when you lay down on top of one, it gets a little bit bent out of shape, and bada bing. Gives you a little stab to the heart. Mm-hmm. Kind of like the Bush administration. It gives the stab to the heart. That's why we have so much heartburn, so much agita. 10:13 at WQM. Let's see what that schedule looks like today. We got same old stuff. We got Mad Dog 2 to 4, the Power Hour with a sports shower with Hank and the Mad Dog from 4 to 5. The Humper again. Well, I tell you, he owes me. He ought to send me a big check for getting him back in there 4 to 7 because he only works like an hour and a half alone. Mm-hmm. 5 to 6:30 again tonight. He's got that scam going. Marlins on deck at 6:30. The Marlins look to pulverize the Mets again at 7:05, followed by the Eddie K show. That's our line. Come on, somebody show up to the Marlin game for Christ's sakes. What is wrong with you people?
The biggest
Christ.
names, the best
On a
talent.
crush.
This is Neil Rogers.
Bunch of losers.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Brad Pitt God.
Now, there's a pill for everything, even for a bigger ding-a-ling. Swallow one to make your hair grow in, or eliminate your double chin. If you have trouble getting to sleep, get a prescription for Evian. You'll be drooling, dreaming, not a peep. Pop a pill and then you're done. Now, there's a pill for everything. If you find a bump or a red ring, make that giant coolie disappear. Don't work out to swallow one with beer. Now there is no need to operate. If you're always going number one, get some Flomax to shrink your frustrates. Pop a pill and then you're done. Now, there's a pill for everything. If you find a rash from your last fling, if you're feeling depressed, don't do crack. Ask your doctor to give you Prozac. If you are not careful having sex, you'll get more than just an oven with a bun. Ask the clinic doctor for Valtrex. Pop a pill and then you're done. Now, there's a pill for everything, even for allergies in the spring. If your toes are looking sort of ill, make them better with some Lamisil. There's Plavix, Restore, and Nexium. Kill what you have quicker than a gun. Side effects may produce nipple numb. Pop a pill and then you're done. Lipitor, Glycomax, Vicodin, Tomomax. Get yourself a prescription.
Pop a pill and then you're done.
10:19 at 560 WQAM. Islamic militants attempted to storm the U.S. Embassy in Damascus today using automatic rifles, hand grenades, and at least one van rigged with explosives. 4 people were killed in the brazen attack, including 3 of the assailants. In the brazen attack. Is that as opposed to just an ordinary pedestrian attack?
Right, this one was brazen.
This one was with brazen.
Guns blazing.
As Tom Durkin would say, a brazen display of speed in that first quarter. Tom writes all those little cute things down. Brazen display of speed. Just like Chris Jones this morning, a brazen display of lack of interest. But nevertheless. Hey, listen, you're happy with that crowd back there. I'm real happy for you. I'm glad that you guys are bonding real well.
I don't know what was better before.
Well, what was better before was that we actually had some spots on here. That was what was better. And we didn't have these 85 units in every break like we got now. It's it's the same amount of time, but it seems like we're away for like an hour at a time. Let's work on that, by the way. That could be part of the new format.
What's wrong with that?
Oh, boy. How about if I give you a couple of names, man? Like Todd Dreck would be one, and then, of course, this...
was part of the old guard.
I beg your pardon?
He was here before, and he's here now.
Well, so was Brian Schmutz. He came back. He's doing one hell of a job. By the way, we find any more information about that account?
Which one?
Because we're just... no, because I'm a scholar. Well, we don't have that many to talk about anymore,
No, we have not gotten any.
I see. Well, just like that Pompano Park situation we had 2 weeks in a row, they're just kind of like letting it slide through the cracks. But you know what? Why should we care? Why should we get our panties in a wad, our knickers in a thing? U.S. filmmaker Oliver Stone, who surprised many with the patriotic flavor of his new film World Trade Center, hinted in Moscow yesterday that is considering a more controversial follow-up investigating the conspiracy around 9/11. The obvious question to that is, well, why did he start with a puff piece, Why did he start with that? Mm-hmm. Of course, at the time that he was making that, it wasn't so trendy, all these conspiracy theories. I mean, they were around, but nobody was dignifying them or talking about them, as opposed to now. Now that at least a third of the public believes that there was some kind of conspiracy. There is a great story in a movie, a conspiracy by a group of people in the American administration who have an agenda and who used 9/11 to further that agenda, he told journalists in Russia. He's an a-hole, he makes me sick. Why is it that people like him? I know he did a couple of good movies, but he's just a jerk. Mm-hmm. Oliver Stone, you don't think so?
He made a couple of good movies.
Well, that's not the point. He's still a jerk.
Right. He's not the person I thought he was. How's that?
Are you talking about Joe Bell again?
No.
Oh. There could be a fascinating project on what happened after 9/11, Oliver Stone said at his packed press conference on the 5th anniversary of the attacks yesterday. Stone accused U.S. President George W. Bush of mishandling the fight against Osama Yamama, against the militants, and using the crisis to stoke fear and bolster his own power at home in a way that was right out of George Orwell. Always liked that Oliver Stone, you know what? No, I mean, I agree with what he says there, but he's still an a-hole. I just can't stand it.
He did those movies. I thought that his politics were what they were supposed to be, and surprise.
Well, what does that mean?
Well, then he made those
supposed to be?
Well,
what were the politics in JFK? What was the message in JFK? Well, what did it say? What was the message in talk radio?
Oh, geez, well, that's...
Oh, there was a great movie.
Was it?
Wasn't that him?
I think might have been.
That was Oliver who was stoned. Mm-hmm. He ought to be stoned. Isn't that what it says in the Bible? Stone Oliver?
I remember what the message was in Alexander.
Gay. 833 votes on the poll. We're going to have close to that. We're going to be over 900 by 11 o'clock, I think. Aren't we? We're not going to match yesterday when we had 1,600 votes on our poll during the show. That is shocking. Because even across the street, they know that 1,600 far surpasses. That's about 4 times the number of people that they have listening during any average quarter hour, I think. I just made that up. But nevertheless, they get really upset when I just start making stuff up. Like they might go out of business someday. Well, you know something? The way things are going, we might go out of business, too, especially with all that sports-intensive stuff on the morning show. Kenny, Kenny's a broadcaster. He sounds like a good guy,
Mm-hmm. He is a good guy.
But they're killing him.
Oh, well.
When you let Clarence have control. Let's see. Here's the fax that says, I'm sure you're thrilled to be back 5 days a week. No, I don't mind doing the shows. I enjoy doing the shows. I probably shouldn't say that. I don't mind the shows. I just don't. The poll thing, Bob, and of course being involved with QAM really is very disturbing. Because, and I don't care what you say, you're like, you take everything from a personal, and of course you're there, so you're involved with those people. I can do it more objectively because I'm 1,200 miles away, thank God. But if you're going to try to peddle me a song and a dance that things are in a more rational way now than they were before, I'm going to tell you, man, that you must be doing more than just smoking a little ganj, man. You're off your rocker.
Okay.
You're back on the old acid again.
Well,
speaking of ass, let's see. The fact is, I'm sure you're thrilled to be back 5 days a week. Please add Kylie Minogue to the list. She's a bit of a butterface, but the ass is amazing. Oh, you know who else we left off of there?
Who?
And they know what her ass looks like, I think. Jennifer Connelly.
Yeah.
What?
We know what her ass looks like.
Well, you don't like her ass?
I love her ass.
Ass to ass, baby.
I'd love to love her ass.
Isn't that what it said in the Bible? Asses to asses?
That's right. Dust to dust.
Right. Yeah, I'm going to have to get that movie out and watch it again. There just aren't any movies like that anymore. You know? I wonder how Sarah's doing.
Don't forget to warn the audience.
If in doubt, just watch some stuff on YouTube. That's what this fax says. From Dick or Dyke or whatever that is.
Speaking of movies.
Yes.
Don't forget to issue that warning.
Oh, yeah. I'm trying to forget it. Well, you know, I have to admit my stupidity. I get suckered in. This is not the first time. What was that other one about New Jersey?
I don't know. But no, this... Listen,
no. What was the other one? Had 4 stars. That's why I watched it. It was horrible. What was that?
I forget.
Atlantic City?
No, that wasn't it.
No.
It was something else. But you can't be blamed for watching a bad movie.
It was on my cable. I was fishing around there looking for something I might want to watch. And it had 4 stars. You know, at the bottom you look at the synopsis of the movie, the review, and then it gives you like how many stars out of 4 on my cable. Well, this had all 4. Well, very few movies get 4 stars.
Look, we all do that. The best you can do is to spare other people.
It's called Mean Creek. And you know what? If I would have known ahead of time that it was coming on, and I would have found that 4-star thing, I would have come in here and looked on IMDb and read the reviews, and then I would have been sure to watch it. Because most of the reviews, again, it's got a 7.3. Which I think Imaginary Heroes also had like a 7.3. Now, to compare Imaginary Heroes in this movie is like comparing Chateaubriand with dog poop, okay? This is crap. The movie itself isn't bad, but the ending is just, you know.
That's why...
They take the chubby kid, you know. This is basically Deliverance by way of Stand By Me is what they're trying to make. It's about a canoe trip gone bad. And they take the kid out and they're going to, you know... And they're going to make him jump in the water and take all his clothes and make him walk home naked because faggery and nudity are involved in all these, you know, whether it's football or fraternity stuff. It's got to have faggery.
You bet.
And to make a long story short, the kid dies. I'm telling you this to ruin the movie so you don't waste your time watching it. Mean Creek. And it's okay. I mean, the acting is okay for a bunch of punky, ugly kids. And then the kid dies and they're in a panic what they're going to do. And then it ends.
Yeah.
The one kid, he takes his brother's car and his gun, and he goes off and holds up a convenience store so he can get money to go to drive to Mexico. And then the other kids decide they're going to turn themselves in because they wound up accidentally killing this kid who drowned it. This fat, obnoxious kid. Kind of reminded me of the Beast. And then that's it. It ends. It just ends. It's over.
All right.
You would really have a fit because you're such a stickler on bad endings.
That's right.
You can't complain about the ending of this movie because it didn't have one. It just goes to black and then here come the credits and like, what?
Yeah.
I was frosted, man. I was pissed off.
A movie with a bad ending is like a joke without a punchline.
But it didn't have any ending.
Pointless.
You know, it's like we ran out of film, and now we hope you enjoyed it. And you know, and you read the reviews on this IMDb. About the only bizarre thing in the movie is that the one kid had, and this is supposed to be in some backwater town in Oregon in the Northwest. You know,
Sure.
And the one kid's got 2 gay parents. He's got daddy and daddy.
Okay.
Well, how many backwater towns in Oregon do you think? How many kids have got daddy and daddy or mommy and mommy, huh? How many?
A couple.
Yeah, likely story. Daddy and daddy my ass. 28 past 10 at 560 WQAM. Don't watch it, okay? Mean Creek, man, it sucks. And now I know why they call it mean. 856 votes on the poll, by the way. We'll get to that 1,000 piece of cake, and then I'm taking off a couple of years. Enough with this crap. Enough with being involved with that sales department. Hey, if it's time for you to get a new mattress, if the old one is bumpy and lumpy and not getting a good night's sleep no more, do what I've been doing for years. Don't waste your time and money driving to all those bedding and department stores all over town. Just call Dial-A-Mattress toll-free. Sit there on your ass, make one easy call. It'll be the wisest thing you've done in a long time. Maybe as wise as not watching Mean Creek. Call 1-800-MATTRESS and get yourself factory direct prices that are lower than the chain stores even during those so-called big sales. In addition, Dial-A-Mattress offers you 12-month financing, too. Call 1-800-Mattress. You'll get the lowest prices on the best brands in the universe like Sealy, Inserta, King Coil, Simmons, Tempur-Pedic, and Stearns & Foster Hewitt. Dial Mattress continues to be ranked as they have for years now, #1 in the world in customer satisfaction. Nobody comes close. First of all, they give you a 99.7% on-time delivery rate. Just choose the date and time you want that new mattress delivered, and they'll show up. 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. You prick the 2-hour window, and they are there. And, of course, the price is totally unbeatable. Even the very same day that you call, Dial Mattress will deliver to you. So make that call right now. You can be sleeping like a baby as soon as tonight. And maybe you can come to the station and write us a new copy. Dial Mattress. Call them toll-free, 1-800-Mattress, 1-800-MATTRES. Leave off the last S because it stands for sales holes.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Verifying on Pacific Air 121.
This is your captain. Sit back, relax, and enjoy the live in-flight entertainment.
White Snakes on a Plane, starring Samuel L. Jackson.
Enough is enough. I've had it with these power balance on this plane.
This is your captain again. I'm afraid we'll need to make an emergency landing. Tawny Contain is sprawled down on the nose of the aircraft.
This summer, terror slides and slithers in spandex and silk scarves. White Snakes on a Plane.
Oh, no. Don't play that song.
You see, this movie, Mean Creek, which you inspired me to talk about, and I wish the hell I wouldn't. It builds up to a certain point. Like I said, it's like Deliverance with kids, a bunch of punky kids. And they go on a canoe trip, and it goes bad, and the kid he drowns and bangs his head, and he's dead. And so at that point, that should be like the beginning of the unraveling. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
Well, no, like in Deliverance, after they have that encounter in the woods, and after Ned Beatty gets a little bit sore about it, and then after that, it's like the cover-up, and then a whole bunch of stuff, and then in the hospital,
the cat and mouse game.
Burt Reynolds gives John Voight a wink, which I'm not sure what he meant by that, and neither was John. But, and then there's the unraveling, the denouement, whatever the hell the French say, whatever that means. You know what I'm saying?
What do they say in France?
But it doesn't happen. It just doesn't happen. One kid takes the gun in the car, and he goes off and robs the convenience store. He's off headed for Mexico. And, let's see, Kate Hudson, flat-out great ass. Don't say flat-out great ass.
Well, I think they had it right. Flat, non-ass is right. But we'll put her on there just to,
Somebody likes Kate Hudson's ass.
You can have it, whatever there is.
I'm not that much of an ass person anyway. I wouldn't mind like Brady Quinn giving a pat on the ass, saying good job, and that's acceptable. See, in the sports world, you can pat a guy now. One guy can pat another guy on the ass, and it's acceptable. In fact, it's encouraged a lot. Slap him on the ass with a towel in the shower, or better yet, go out there and pat him on the ass, take the ball out of his hand, and say, "Good job, get out of here. You stink." You know what I'm saying? Isn't that right, Josh?
I don't know if it's encouraged, but yeah.
It goes on, man. In fact, guy gets a hit, he goes to first base, and the first base coach pats him on the ass. Now, that's true. Huh?
No, they don't.
The hell they don't. It sounds awfully gay to me. Don't tell me that they don't pat each other on the ass.
No, they do.
Are you in denial again? Is that what it is?
The first base coach doesn't really usually give the guy a pat on the ass.
Once in a while. I've seen it. And sometimes he gives the first baseman for the other team a pat on the ass. Well, it all depends on if it's J.T. Snow. I'd give him a pat on the ass. I just don't understand this whole sports thing, man. There's, like George always says, I hate to agree with George ever, but there's so much faggery involved in all of this. And believe me, I know faggery. Trust me, I'm an expert. No, listen. When you say it, it's just a guess. When I say it, it's from experience. I know it.
Okay.
When I see it, I know it.
Yeah. I don't think anybody can argue that point.
Okay, well, so there you go. It's the voice of experience,
That's
man.
Right.
Too much faggery. Just like football. My God, talk about a faggy sport. All these guys out there in the mud and muck, like Defoe used to say. What he used to talk about with their tight, wearing the tight pants, squirming around in the mud, grabbing each other around the crotch. What is that? What is that?
Gay.
Oh. Actually, if I was on the ball and I was in better practice, I had a better response.
That's a gay club, you moron.
But I forgot about him. How's he doing, by the way?
I haven't heard in a long time, though.
Let's track down our good friend Al Goldstein and see if he can cause some more trouble. Poor Al. He was There was an episode that kind of like went almost unnoticed, which is really sad. Because really, in his own bizarre way, he's a good guy. He means well. You know, he's his own worst enemy, but he's a good guy, basically. And they did to him the same thing they did to Larry Flint without the bullet, you know?
Right.
And the same thing they did to Lenny Bruce, and the same thing they tried to do to George Carlin. Well, they succeeded with George Carlin. They neutered him so that he's basically... People think he's very funny, but he doesn't say anything anymore, you know? He just does a lot of corny routines, but he's not like he used to be. He's a shadow of what he once was. Even we discussed that the other day. The only good thing I've seen him do in a long time, what was the movie with Matt Damon and, I can never think of the name of that.
Matt Damon.
And Ben Affleck.
Dogma?
Dogma. I mean, of course, it was only a cameo. He was only in it for like about a few seconds.
About 30
seconds. But as the priest, and that was funny, and that was very good.
Buddy
right?
Jesus. Right.
Very irreverent, very, very good. 881 votes on the poll. Who has the best ass? J-Lo, 216. I think all your people are voting on that, all the Julios.
Okay.
They like a big ass. They don't care what it's attached to. In fact, I think a lot of these guys, they would just take the ass home.
Now, there's nothing wrong with her ass. It's her face that's the issue.
No, there is something wrong with her ass. It's about 3 sizes too big, but other than that.
We'll work on it.
If that's what you like, you got it. She's nauseating. She makes me want to puke.
That's right. But I think because of her ass.
And I'll tell you one thing. If she's in a movie, man, you can bet your life. It's like Ben Affleck. It's the same thing. Although Dogma was good. I take it back. He was in one good movie. He was also in a movie with, what's her name? With, in Chicago about how he had amnesia.
Sandra Bullock.
Remember that movie? That was pretty good.
No, never saw it.
Oh, you'd like that.
Would I?
I'm not going to send you any more movies. It's starting to cost me a lot of money.
Forces of Nature?
Was that it?
Yeah, never saw it.
Well, then how do you know what it's about?
I'm up on these things.
It was pretty interesting. I like Sandra Bullock anyway.
Yes.
I don't like Ben Affleck. J-Lo, 217. Angelina Jolie, 138. I hate this poll, 136. Well, shame on you, 15.3%. What do you know about ass? You're just jealous because you got an ugly ass. That's the only reason anybody would vote I hate this poll, right? Or maybe they just don't think it's as intellectual as our poll about... Well, listen, you know, now that I got these poll ideas to come up with every day, we got to, like, alternate. We can't keep, like, heavy-duty, like, World War III every day, right?
Right. You know who those people are.
Let's lighten it up a little bit.
Those people that vote that, those are just the permanently malcontented...
Yeah, but that's an awful lot, 15%.
Yeah.
Screw you people, okay? To hell with you. Well, there's Anderson Cooper, man. He nearly got his ass nailed there in Afghanistan. You see that yesterday?
Speaking of ass, no, I missed it.
Oh. Also, let's go to the catacombs in Paris. I saw it on the Travel Channel last night. They were running out of land, so they were, instead of wasting all the land with those cemeteries that they had, all those gigantic cemeteries, they dug up all the graves, and they put in the catacombs. They put all the bones and the skulls.
Saw a documentary on that. We might have been watching the same thing.
Wow, that is kind of freaky.
And they stack them up nice and neat.
Yeah, the Beast has got 95. He has one hell of an ass, man. There are some states, I think like Rhode Island isn't quite as big.
Like
by the way, it's Election Day. It's primary day in Rhode Island and a bunch of other places. Mariah Carey, 85. Britney, 49. Mariah Carey. Well, what is the simmons with her? Luis Miguel's got a bigger ass than she's got. Now.
Does he?
Now he does. He's all ass now. But he sure got a great voice. Don't knock Luis. Britney, 49. Tom Brady, 43. He remains right on Britney's butt. Sophia Vergara, 33. Oprah got 26. Man, oh man, when she farts, the universe goes out of kilter for a while. Can you even imagine?
Wow.
Maybe that's why Tom Cruise was jumping up and down on the couch.
You'd be amazed what can talk.
Jessica Biel, 19. Tom Cruise, 17. Vida Guerra, 15. Brady Quinn's got a dozen. And I'd like to see them all. Jennifer Connelly's got 3, ass to ass. Kylie Minogue's got 3. And Kate Hudson doesn't have any. She's got a flat ass.
She doesn't have any ass.
Well, maybe that's the deal. Maybe he misunderstood the poll, because obviously these people are into size, whether it's ass or whatever else. I'm not going to go into it.
Don't go into it.
No, you know I've said it before.
Don't go into ass.
I just don't understand. I just don't understand people who are whatever the appendage might be. You know
size queens?
Yeah, and they don't care what it's connected to.
No,
I don't understand that.
No.
You know what I'm saying? I
mean, big boobs are nice, but if it's connected to an ugly person, then
no,
thank
cow.
you. Right.
Like what Britney looks like now, for example. Right. A cow. A pig. A disgusting anchor. And let's see, we ever get an answer on that account from...
The biggest names.
I'm just going to keep asking because I know the answer will be no.
Sports Radio 560.
You're doing it, Chris. You're the best, baby.
It's G. Gordon Liddy, and they don't come any worse than Neil Rogers.
You love Shakira's top 10 hit, Underneath Your Clothes.
Underneath your clothes, there's an endless story. There's a man I'm drawn.
And now you love her new album, Shakira Sings Other People's Hits. She already made music history by recording her first English-language album, and now she's taking her art form to the next level by re-recording songs that were already hits in English, only this time they're in English again. Shakira Sings Other People's Hits. Shakira Sings Other People's Hits. If you really, really like Shakira's CD laundry service, then you'll really, really, really like her new CD. Shakira Sings Other People's Hits. No tenemos en español en estos momentos.
She kicks serious ass, Shakira, and somebody says put her on there, okay? Frog Hater says put her on there. And he also, at the end of his fax, little comment says... Now, we both screwed up real bad on that Sandra Bullock. First of all, Ben Affleck wasn't in that movie. He was in some other movie with her, but that wasn't the one.
Oh, okay.
No, it was, who was the guy? While You Were Sleeping.
Oh, never heard of it.
Did you see that? Bill Pullman?
No.
Oh, that's the one I was talking about.
Okay.
Ticket collecting, romantic pretends to be engaged to the unconscious man but can't fool his brother.
Sorry.
It's cute.
Never heard of it.
You didn't hear of it?
What's it called again?
It's called While You Were Sleeping.
Never heard of it.
It's got 6.4 out of 10, which doesn't come close to the 7.3 Mean Creek gets on IMDb. Jack Warden's in it. He just croaked. Peter Boyle is in it. Peter Gallagher. Peter O'Toole. No, he's not in it.
Peter
But anyway, while you were... It's pretty good. And thank God Ben Affleck's in it. See, I made a mistake. Although he was in some movie with her, which I can't think of what it was, and I don't want to know. The less I hear about him, the better. I even Googled him, and guess what? Guess what he's working on for 2007? The Ben Affleck-Matt Damon project. They're working on it together.
Oh, good.
And the movie, too. I don't know. I mean, there's some people, it's just, what's the point, you know? Not that it makes any difference. Who cares? I just get so tired of people trying to pull the wool over my eyes my whole life, you know? Right, Tommy?
You fairy.
Not our Tommy. I'm talking about Tommy Cruise.
You see Tommy Cruise at the game last night?
No, I did not. What, the Marlin game?
No, he was at the Redskins game.
Oh, the football game. No, I watched. You know how many seconds of that I watched? I turned it on to see who was on Monday Night Football, and I saw San Diego and Washington. And I turned it off immediately. I thought, what a dream matchup that is if you like have big on nightmares. And of course, I think what was the score? 28-zip.
Yeah.
San Diego, the Chargers just mopped up the field with them, and the Redskins suck. So Tommy Cruise was there, huh?
Well, no, San Diego beat Oakland. This was the Redskins, Minnesota.
When the hell was that?
There were 2 games last night.
There were 2 Monday night games?
Yeah, it was a doubleheader.
San Diego beat, who the hell did they play?
Oakland.
Oh, that's right, Oakland. Well, they must suck, too.
That was the late game.
Oh, brother.
But Tommy Cruise was in D.C., you know, make a little appearance at the football game.
D.C. or D.C.?
D.C.
That's what they say.
You fairy.
Anyway, isn't that great? I wonder if he got to shower with the guys after the game, you think? Maybe he had Kate in there. What's her Katie in there after the game?
She was there. She was there.
she really?
Oh, yeah.
How about Baby Suri? Was Baby Suri with a fringe on top there, too?
No.
Good. Executives with American Airlines say they're outraged at the depiction of the airline in the ABC miniseries The Path to 9/11. Airline spokesman Roger Frizzell said yesterday that the miniseries falsely portrays an American gate agent at Boston's Logan Airport allowing a terrorist onto a flight despite a warning that he might have been a threat. It's important for the public to know that the ABC dramatization is inaccurate and irresponsible in its portrayal of the airport check-in events that occurred on the mornings of September 11th, Frizzell said. I wonder if he's kin to Lefty Frizzell.
Who?
I don't know. Wasn't there a country guy named Lefty Frizzell?
I'll let you know.
Oh, come on. You better brush up on your country music, man. They just had the Country Music Awards. Who won it?
I don't know.
2 flights operated by Fort Worth-based American Airlines were hijacked in the attacks, yada, yada, yada. ABC officials did not respond to calls or emails requesting comment on their concerns yesterday. Frizzell said American has alerted ABC to its concerns, but also has had no response. people are pissed off and fired up. The only good news, of course, is that nobody watched it. It had very mediocre ratings, and anybody with a brain didn't watch it. And the only people who did watch it probably were that 33% who continue kissing Bush's ass, speaking of ass. If we're going to ask the question, who is the biggest ass, well, there's no question he'd win that hands down. But that's not the question. Who has the best ass? And look at that, poor Brady Quinn's only got 13. But that number was good enough for Dan Marino. It must be good enough for Brady. Tom Brady's got 43. That makes me really wonder about you people, you know? Doesn't that make you wonder about some of this crowd?
I don't wonder about them at all.
Well, no, I put something on there for everybody, you know, so people have a place to go. I hate this poll, by the way, is 15%. Really pisses me off. In second place, right on J-Lo's ass. But that Tom Brady having all those votes, I bet you some of those are from guys.
I'll bet.
You know what I mean?
Gay. Sure. Yeah.
Oh. 1 in 5 Canadians, speaking of gay, believes that the attacks on the U.S. on 9/11 had nothing to do with Osama bin Laden and were actually a plot by influential Americans, according to a new poll released yesterday. How do you like that, eh?
Uh-huh.
The Ipsos Reid poll found that 22% of Canadians and 26% of young Canadians agree with the conspiracy theory. The number was the highest at 32% in Quebec, which has shown the least support for the U.S. war on terror. That war on terror, I had an article about that the other day. Yeah,
you're doing the quote thing, right?
You can't have a war on terror, okay?
And there isn't one.
Huh?
And there isn't one.
No, well, of course not. But it's just another one of those catchy buzzwords or cliches, you know, part of the series of talking points. See, life in America is dwindled down to talking points. That's what it's all about. There are no more political campaigns based on any issues. It's all just been reduced to talking points. My ass. The poll asked if the events of 9/11, including the thousands of American citizens who lost their lives on that day, were actually orchestrated by a group of highly influential Americans and others as part of a wider global conspiracy to profit from and gain power, and were actually protecting Osama bin Laden from being captured. Oh, what a concept. Conspiracy theories are popular, as we all know, said Ipsos pollster Paul Orovan. 66% said the actions were carried out by bin Laden's disciples as an attack on the U.S. and as part of the global war of terror against Western and affluent democracies. 12% said neither or refused to answer because they valued their lives. And they're afraid that their votes will be traced and that there will be a knock on their door at 3 o'clock in the morning, and it won't be Xavier Suarez in his bathrobe either. Boy, we sure miss him, don't we? Joe Arroyo. Whatever happened to the good old days when we had Joe Gersten? Where the hell's Joe Gersten? I saw a thing in the Herald the other day. Whatever happened to Joe Gersten? They still haven't found him.
He's in Australia.
Having a good time. In fact, maybe he was the one who stuck that thing through Steve Irwin's heart.
Crikey.
Yeah.
A lawyer pissed me off.
He was always a little cranky.
Cracky.
Yeah, that too. Joe Gersten. 945 votes, man. We'll slide into that 1,000 now. Now that we're back on this full-time schedule. You think that has anything to do with it? No. Kate Hudson doesn't have any votes, by the way.
Because she doesn't have any ass.
Because she has no ass. That would be like saying Kate Moss. Yeah. Karen Carpenter.
You know what? Kate Moss has a bigger ass than Kate Hudson.
I mean, the eraser on a pencil is bigger than her ass. 9/11 themed ad to tell Americans life depends on their vote. Oh, here's the new campaign. They're doing two things. They're smearing the Democratic candidates. They're spending $45 million to do that, the right-wingers, and a new ad being placed in key markets by a neocon think tank will tell Americans that their lives literally depend on their votes in the upcoming midterm election. If you vote Republican, you'll be alive. If you vote Democrat, you're dead.
You're going to die.
That's basically what it boils down to. I'm going to tell you right now, no matter what you vote for, you will be eventually dead. Oh, no. In fact, go to the catacombs and take a look at all those. See, when you look at the bones and the skulls, and it makes you wonder about, well, thank God the souls escaped and they went up to heaven somewhere.
That's right. Or some of them went to hell.
Because the rest of the body ain't looking too good, no mo, you know? Over images of the 2001 attack on the World Trade Center, not that they would politicize that, of course, an off-camera narrator will tell voters in New York, Pennsylvania, Ohio, Missouri, Virginia, and Vermont that the world is a dangerous place. Islamic terrorists hate us for who we are and what we stand for. The Center for Security Policy, an organization linked to a number of well-known neocons, produced the ad. Though it claims to be nonpartisan, it claims to be, like the ABC miniseries, it's nonpartisan. Centers around the widely used Republican cut-and-run talking point. Oh, there we are again with those freaking talking points. The 60-second spot argues that an exit from Iraq would be seen as a sign of weakness by America's enemies. Anti-American statements from a variety of Muslims and Middle Eastern countries also are displayed on screen as the narrator continues. The next time someone suggests America should cut and run from the war on terror, ask them, run to where? I noticed that the Bushmeister yesterday in one of his 85 speeches was talking about the Middle Eastern, terror from the Middle East. See, this goes back again to this whole neocon thing of reshaping the Middle East, taking over, invading, occupying, hooking up the Americans to the oil field, all these things, you know.
Just the latest crusade.
Which ties right in, by the way. I never got to it yesterday, which I never got to a lot of stuff. See, that's a good thing. I can keep my pile going all week long now.
It's an ongoing pile?
It does itch a little bit. Where's that thing about the Coca-Cola factory that just opened up in Afghanistan? They just had a gigantic plant. This is one of the few plants that wasn't involved with the opium trade. Let's see. Where the hell is it? Oh, here it is. $25 million Coca-Cola plant opened in Afghanistan. Let's hear it. Oh! Things go better with opium. I mean, with poppy. With Coke. President Hamid Karzai, that Unocal stooge, formerly opened a $25 million Coca-Cola bottling plant, one of the most significant investments in Afghanistan since the supposed ousting of the Taliban 5 years ago. But our good friends, the Pakis, just made a pact with the Taliban, and they said, hey, you do whatever the hell you want. We like you guys. And come right down here into Pakistan and hang out, because we can't tell which one has the Tony. Karzai said it was an endorsement of the government's effort to push ahead with reconstruction of the war-damaged country. The plant had its first products, which will compete with imports from Pakistan and Iran on the streets of the capital in January. Pakistan, Iran, and Kabul, things go better with Coke and opium.
The biggest names of best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
This is the Neil Rogers Show. This is your brain. Any questions?
On the streets of heavily Jewish Miami Beach, Lansky became an elder statesman, a living legend.
The most pious Jews in the world in Miami Beach who are the holiest people to whom God is everything. Even God wasn't close to Meyer Lansky. As soon as they saw Meyer Lansky, forget about God. This was God. They used to worship him, follow him, look at him. If he walked down the street, they would talk about how slow he walked, how fast. Did he have a dog, a cow, a horse? Did he sit down, get up, what time?
One time we're in this little deli down in Miami Beach, and these two young boys came up with yarmulkes on, and they were kind of looking at my grandpa, and I was kind of standing in the background, and they came up and said, Mr. Lansky, we'd like to get your autograph. And he kind of looks at him seriously, and knowing my grandpa, he goes, well, what did I do, an Academy Award? And I said, well, we figured it'd be worth some money someday, Mr. Lansky. And he said, no, son, I don't sign autographs.
Lebanese and Israelis, there's a conflict in the Middle East, and it's not very small. It could be the start of World War III. We all know those people are insane on that part of the globe. Things are really bad with all those guns. Blood will spill as I watch them kill each other. I keep wondering why they're all gonna die. Lebanese and Israelis, there's a conflict in the Middle East, and it's not very smart. It could be the start of World War III. I'm dying over here. Lebanese, Israelis, they've been fighting for centuries. Lebanese, Israelis, watch it every day on your TV. Lebanese, Israelis.
Look at that. CNN's Nick Robertson visits a religious school in Pakistan. Look at it. Are you watching this?
No.
The madrasa, and they got all these kids with the shmatas on their head, and they're davening, man. They're rocking back and forth with the Quran. The same crap is still going on. Blow up Pakistan, baby, now.
You'll see thousands of refugees, Lebanese, Israelis. The big Armageddon, they're not getting me. Lebanese, I don't think there ever will be. Lebanese in the Middle East. It's impossible.
Schools like this
are called madrasas. There are 15,000 in Pakistan. This man, Mullah Abdul Rashid Ghazi, runs some of the largest anywhere. He says he met Osama bin Laden. He describes himself as being ideologically close to the world's most wanted terrorist. In fact, he says jihad, war with oneself and one's enemies, a holy war, is part of the Quran, so he must teach it.
We have been asked by the government many times that you should stop teaching the chapter of jihad. So we tell them that we can't stop it because we cannot make any amendment in Islam.
All right, let's hear it for our good buddies, the Packies. Oh! Yeah. And people can't understand why these kids are so fanatic that they're willing to blow themselves up for, jihad.
They seem to be packing them in.
Not to mention, of course, those 7 virgins. I wonder if all those people in the catacombs, I wonder if they got their 7 virgins before they went off to their just rewards.
I thought they were French.
Or before they got their just French desserts. You're going to be so excited when you hear who I just discovered an article from today.
Doug Thompson.
For the second, right, good guess. Doug Thompson, Capitol Hill Blue. He must be writing from a bunker somewhere.
I'm telling you, a cave.
Maybe he's in the catacombs.
Uh-huh.
Because, man, you thought the one yesterday was heavy duty. Wait till you hear this. The face of a madman. He says one only needed to look into the angry, out-of-control face of George W. Bush during an interview broadcast on NBC Monday to realize the President of the United States is a madman. Bush lost his cool with, of all people, Matt Lauer of NBC's Today Show. If Bush can't handle himself with a pablum-producing journalistic wannabe like Lauer, how the hell can we expect him to protect this nation in times of crisis? Veins bulged in Bush's face. Anger flashed through eyes that darted from side to side. This was not a man in control. You normally find full transcripts of Bush's interviews on the White House website, but the transcript of this one, taped Friday, is conveniently missing. I'm sure somebody in the White House, in the West Wing, sent down the order, don't put anything about the Lauer interview in the White House. Jesus Christ, the President comes off like a crazy man. Maybe Bush comes off like a crazy man because that's exactly what he is. Here's a partial transcript, courtesy of the Crooks and Liars website. Lauer, and yet you admitted that there were CIA secret facilities, okay? Bush, so what? Why is that not within the law? Lauer, the head of Amnesty International, says secret sites are against international law. Bush, well, we just disagree with him. Plus, my job is to protect you. And most American people, if I said to them that we had who we think is the mastermind of 9/11, they would say, why don't you see if you can't get information without torturing him, which is what we did. Lauer, I don't want to let this within the law issue slip through. I mean, in fact, there was waterboarding used with Khalid Sheikh Mohammed, and for the viewers, that's basically when you strap someone to a board and you make them feel as if they're going to drown by putting them underwater, as if that was legal and within the law. Why couldn't you do it at Guantanamo? Why did you have to go to a secret location around the world? Bush, I'm not going to talk about techniques, and I'm not explaining to the enemy what we're doing. All I'm telling you is that you've asked me whether or not we're doing things to protect the American people, and I want the American people to know we are doing so. Those of us who have watched Bush over the years already know he was an arrogant SOB. We've also seen increasing evidence that questions his mental stability. Now he flits about the country trying one more time to sell his failed Iraq war and make political hay out of the 9/11 attacks. The nation gets more and more chances to look into the eyes of a madman. Dr. Justin Frank, the prominent George Washington psychiatrist who wrote that book, Bush on the Couch, Inside the Mind of the President, has cast a professional eye on W for years. He doesn't like what his clinical and analytical mind finds. With every passing week, Bush marches deeper and deeper into a world of his own making, Frank says. Bush, when cornered, is a dangerous fighter. He makes choices that are not good for the country. They're good for him and for rubbing our noses in his Schmidt. We saw some of that in the Matt Lauer interview. Bush got in Lauer's face, jamming his finger at the reporter, shaking with rage. Dr. Frank long ago concluded that Bush is a paranoid megalomaniac, a despot out of touch with reality. He writes, psychoanalytic theory suggests that Bush's true enemy is an aspect of himself, the overwhelming anxiety he works so hard to manage. For Bush, lying remains a central defense mechanism in managing his fears. He lies foremost to himself, altering his perception of external or internal reality to fulfill his psychic need to maintain order. His anxiety is so great that he can't shift his thinking to account for new information. In other words, a madman. Will somebody please call the guys in the white jackets to haul this lunatic off to the place with the padded rooms before he destroys us and the rest of the world? How do you like that? And you wonder why they want him off the Internet?
Yeah. They want him off the planet.
You go, Doug. Huh?
They want him off the planet.
They want him on Uranus. Maybe that's why they took Pluto out of the solar system. They declassified it. Kind of makes us feel like Uranus is a little closer. Speaking of Uranus,
yeah.
Well, no, it ties in with our poll. See how we're doing. 974, man. Just a matter of moments before we cross that 1,000 threshold. Oh, and there's Maliki from Iraq. He's over there in Iran shaking hands and kissy-kissy with Ahmadinejad. Isn't that great? And you want to know why? Birds of a feather, kissy-kissy together. 979 votes. I mean, they're fanatical lunatics is what they are, okay? They're crazy people. And, of course, we went in there and butchered a lot of people and put crazy people in charge. That makes sense to me, right? Sure. Who has the best ass? Maybe Ahmadinejad belongs on the poll. J-Lo, 229. I hate this poll, 145, 14.8%. Well, at least we got it under 15%. See, now that I said that, now they'll all jump on that as if I care. Do we care? No. No. How? By the way, how's the information coming on that account I asked about? Angelina Jolie, 143. Well, if it's supposed to be on the log today, which I believe, then time's a wasting. But it probably isn't, because that's Brian Schmutz. Has he done a hell of a job since he came back? My God. He has really, I mean, you talk about spectacular.
Salespeople are ice holes.
Yeah. Angelina Jolie, 143 for the best ass. The Beast, 102. He is really getting the true recognition he deserves for that ass. Mariah Carey, 89. Britney, 52. Tom Brady is still right on Britney's butt, 44. Sofia Vergara, 35. Vida Guerra, 31. What about Randy Guerra? Who? He used to play first base for the Hurricanes. Oh. Jessica Biel, 28. Oprah, 28. Tommy Cruise, 17. He's right under Oprah. Brady Quinn, 13. He's right under Tommy. And, boy, he's not too happy about it. Shakira, she just went on there and she's zooming up the list. She's got 11.
You go, girl.
We hate you if you don't like Shakira. We despise you. We're going to come to your house and kill your kids. Jennifer Connelly, 6. Kylie Minogue, 6. And Kate Hudson, for some strange reason, got the big none. Although I hear her ass really is
rock solid.
Speaking of the big O. Did I promote this award-winning lineup? I guess I did. Well, now that we're getting into the swing of it, now if we can just get some of the sports off of that morning show.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers. Sports.
Stench of cow manure hovers over this performance by the Dolphins.
Absolutely.
Pluto was a planet, now it's just a dwarf. And our solar system sure ain't the same no more.
We got 1,000 votes on the poll.
The planets were fine, they used to be 9, they had it nice.
And Kate Hudson got 2 votes.
But now they say you're just a tiny ball of ice.
Rectum.
Those scientists have totally dissed and put you down. They say, Pluto, just forget it. We don't need 9 planets. You need to go, Pluto. Whoa. When you were a planet, you were a star, now they don't know what you are, Pluto. Don't know why you are so hated, solar maps outdated, so just hit the road, Pluto.
Guess who's suing those scientists, that group of scientists that decided to take Pluto out of the solar system?
I don't know. Mickey Mouse?
Eisner?
Close. Speaking of Mickey Mouse, I sure hope that everybody boycotts Disney and ABC and tell them to drop dead. Somebody says, let's see, Brian in Coconut Creek. How about Jessica Alba for the ass pull? Well, what's wrong with that?
Ass like an apple.
A lot of people wouldn't mind seeing her and Jennifer Connelly ass to ass, or maybe her and Tom Brady ass to ass. Or maybe she could be one of the Brady's bunch. Wait till you hear this. You'll love this, man. You know, Dick Cheney that was on there talking with Tim Russert on Sunday with his usual line through his teeth. Vice President Dick Cheney will be attending a fundraiser for Representative Randy Cool, Republican of New York, in late September. The Vice President and Cool have each earned a measure of infamy, for instance, involving firearms. Cheney, of course, accidentally shot his hunting partner Harry Whittington in the face earlier this year, while according to divorce records obtained by Raw Story, Cool once bullied his wife with shotguns. The San Francisco Chronicle noted in a 2004 article that Cool had past run-ins with the law, including an arrest in 1997 for drunken driving. Cool's license was suspended for 6 months. Cool's wife filed for divorce in late '98, charging that Cool endangered her mental and physical well-being and rendered it unsafe and improper for the parties to continue to reside together. After Cool was arrested in '97 for drunken driving, he refused his wife's request to attend counseling to deal with his excessive consumption of alcoholic beverages. As a result of that arrest, Cool had his driver's license suspended for 6 months, launched his congressional campaign bid by publicly discussing the arrest. Cool is considered a vulnerable incumbent in the midterm election. Says, if you'll recall, widely reported divorce records showed that Cool, currently running for a second term, pulled not one but 2 shotguns on his wife during a 1994 dinner party at their home. Must have been a hell of a party. Cool's ex-wife also described him as an abusive drunk who hustled women. Cheney, the man who may always be remembered for accidentally shooting his good friend on a hunting trip, has agreed to do a private photo op at a September 22 fundraiser for Cool in Rochester, right across the lake. As one Democratic operative said, I can't tell what Cheney likes best about him, Cool's penchant for rubber stamping the president or for combining beer with firearm use. How do you like that? Mm-hmm. That's Cheney's kind of guy, if you ask me. Sounds like it's right up his alley. Well, there's Hamid Karzai.
Pakistan has a democratically elected government.
Wow. Look, what's that new thing on his turban? Look at that. Sticking straight up in the air.
Is it a tassel? No, that's the same
I don't know,
old...
but it looks like it's got some kind of it's been aroused. Standing straight up in the air. Mike Whitney writes, I wonder if he's kin to my good buddy Ray Whitney. I doubt it. By the way, you can put my name on the cup next to yours, Ray, and the Stanley Cup, too. Mike Whitney writes, he says, if you like this 9/11, you'll love the next. Uh-oh. This is on the Smirkling Chimp. And by the way, great new format on the Smirking Chimp. It makes it so much easier for us to use to read their articles. Right?
Right.
Josh ain't too happy about it because it means that because they keep putting new stuff on there all throughout the day and I'm on top of it, man, like Stink on Greg, Stink on Joyce. And that means that Josh has got all these. He's not too happy about it. He told me before the show, he said, if I don't cut the crap, he's going to start getting revolting.
That's right.
Anybody who likes Barry Bonds as much as you do is already revolting. Got a good head start.
I don't like him personally.
There's Anderson's pooper. I sure hope they don't get him in the
rectum
end in Afghanistan. Of course, it wouldn't be the first time. 1,015 votes. To a large extent, the war on terror is a shabby promotional scheme designed to mobilize the nation for a permanent state of war while curtailing civil liberties. I would say that is
absolutely correct, sir.
There's nothing original in this analysis, but it does explain the importance of media as a vehicle for Bush's public relations campaign. It also explains why high-ranking officials in the administration are still provided unlimited airtime to reiterate the same bland bromides over and over again without being challenged. To commemorate the 5th year anniversary of 9/11, the political talk shows have again given Cheney, Rice, and Bush an open forum to make their claim that America is safer and that we are winning the war on terror. Cheney even went so far as to say, we've done a hell of a job here at home on Homeland Security. I don't know how you can explain 5 years of no attacks, 5 years of successful disruption of attacks, 5 years of defeating the efforts of Al-Qaeda to come back and kill more Americans. In Cheney's mind, the government is performing its task satisfactorily if he can say, what are you complaining about? You're still alive, aren't you? This is a fair indication of how far the bar has been lowered for government accountability since Bush took office. Condoleezza's performance on CNN was grimmer than Cheney's. Rice repeated the absurd claim that the U.S. might yet uncover evidence of links between Saddam and Al-Qaeda. There were ties between Iraq and Al-Qaeda, she said. Don't confuse her with the facts. The fact that government officials lie is hardly shocking or newsworthy. What is surprising, however, is the complicity of the media in propagating those deceptions without argument. As Robert Fisk noted some time ago, the news should actually be called High-Ranking Government Officials Said, since the news exclusively reflects the warmongering, business-friendly perspective of government. This phenomenon has gotten steadily worse since the attacks of 9/11. In fact, the war on terror is the greatest PR campaign of all time, involving all the major media, which continue to promote these same tired themes ad nauseum. There is virtually no refuge in the corporate media for the nearly 40% of the public who don't accept the official version of 9/11, or for the 63% of Americans who no longer believe the war in Iraq was worth it, or for the vast number of people who don't believe we are safer. Their views are simply dismissed as irrelevant since they don't advance the objectives of ownership in the state. This open conspiracy of controlled media seems much more interesting to me than many of the anomalies surrounding the attacks of 9/11. At the very least, there's a concerted effort by corporate bigwigs and Western elites to manage public perceptions through an increasingly sophisticated disinformation campaign. Rumsfeld appears to be way out front of his colleagues in this regard by targeting the Internet, chat rooms, blogs, liberal journalists, and Arab media. The central part of the present campaign is now and will continue to be the war on terror, that threadbare PR scam which justifies America's global resource war. 9/11 is the unifying myth that animates the war on terror, and without that point of reference, the whole project would quickly unravel. Yesterday's anniversary of 9/11 promised to be another futile attempt to re-engage the public and try to shore up support. What was that word again? Re-engage.
Oh.
Bush can be expected to invoke the same stale imagery of dusty firemen and smoldering buildings while the bagpipes wail in the distance. The nation was again dumped into a bottomless pool of grief in the vain hope that their feelings would reinvigorate the war effort. It didn't work. The American people are tired of Iraq, tired of Bush, tired of the war on terror. It'll take more than Bush's feigned patriotism or David Horowitz's revisionist rehash in the path to 9/11 to energize the war on terror. Even the best propaganda campaign has its limits. The only way to get the public back on board is with a massive casualty-producing event in the U.S., and don't think they haven't thought about that in Washington yet. How you like that?
Yeah, I don't.
Uh-oh. Restaurant fire threatens nearby historic buildings in the WFAA. Is that in Dallas? Where is that? See, they show you that they give you a little smear on that for a second. Now they go off to some other crap. A genius. Where the hell was that? Isn't WFAA in Dallas?
I don't know.
Well, there you go. A bunch of buildings on fire. Probably trying to cover up that Kennedy assassination again.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Beware of exploding balls.
I'm hot for a lady, comes into what she really drives me crazy when she puts that big brown truck in gear. Makes me smile when she says sign here.
Hope that girl don't come today. I hope it's a new driver named Red.
I don't understand what you see in that guy. You girls think that he's so fly.
I tell you what, I let him hit it. That's one package I want delivered.
I'd get with her if I had the chance. Find out what's in those tight brown pants. You be this girl, I secretly spy. My fantasy is that you let me drive.
You be a boy, you are so right. I know what I want for you to overnight.
You be a girl, you're such a tease. I wanna find out what brown can do for me.
You be a boy, you are the best, so I'll never back no more.
What can Brownie do for you, man?
Rectum.
11:32 at 560 WQAM. Oh, guess who's on the new Geico spot?
I give up.
Have you seen it? Oh, you'd know if you'd seen it. Vern Troyer, Mini-Me.
Oh, no, I saw it, yes.
Isn't that great?
Yes.
I think that's the best of all of them.
Poor guy.
The Little Richard one, I think, is number 2. But that one, what do you mean, poor guy? Vern Troyer?
Yeah.
Just because he's a midget?
Yeah.
I got news for you. He's pulling a lot more cash than you'll ever see.
There's no doubt, but still.
He got with a pretty hot woman, too, if I'm not mistaken.
Yeah, there you go. Like I told you about the jockeys yesterday. Just because the guy's about 2 feet tall don't mean he ain't getting any action.
Can't reach any light switches?
Well, too bad. I'm sure he's got an assistant.
Speaking of that,
yeah,
I'm sending you, finally, after much scouring, a picture of Kate Hudson from behind at the beach.
Oh, but she's got 5 votes now. You want to know why it took an hour and a half for her to get any votes?
Oh, they just now found it?
They just now found her ass. Hour and a half later. She got 5 votes, but she's still on the bottom. Kind of like that trout on the bottom yogurt. Let's see. Here's RB sends a fax from University Dodge, no less. All these faxes we get from University Dodge. RB my ass. It's Bocamper. Go to MSNBC and it's got a URL here. Watch the video of Bush and Lauer interview. I already seen it. Thank you very much. I already saw the Bush-Matt Lauer interview. Didn't you see it?
No.
Where he gets right up in his face and, it's pretty
I'm
nice.
going to go watch it now.
And like Doug Thompson would say, he's a crazy person. And Bush, too. Oh, speaking of hockey, any interest in the Panthers?
No.
Well, this isn't about the Panthers, but it's a hockey story. Just came in. I'm sure that somebody out there, it's from the Toronto Star. You know those Canadians, man, too obsessed with hockey. Quit hocking a Chinik with a hockey already, will you please?
Through to try to get to the puck. 29 seconds after Messier tied it, Babbage breaks a tie.
Well, we don't care. Do we care? Sam Rosen cares. The New York Islanders have agreed to an unprecedented $67.5 million 15-year contract for goaltender Rick DiPietro, who looks pretty good to me, by the way. Pietro will earn $4.5 million annually. The Islanders have a news conference for later today. $4.5 million a year for 15 years. $67.5 million for this punk. The owner of the team, Charlie Wang, is trying to show that he's committed to a building project, and DiPietro showed he's committed to the team, wants to be on Long Island. Now they're going to have to build a building first. They play in like a toilet. The Islanders. Even you wouldn't go to those games, would you?
Josh.
No, I'm not talking to Josh.
Oh.
Josh don't go to no hockey, although he's going to be going to some Panther games this year.
Yeah, I'll go to a few.
We love the Panthers. They really suck. Anyway, Kyle, let's take a look at the poll. We got 1,044 votes. Nothing like that fantastic result we had yesterday on 9/11. But then again, that's hopefully a once-in-a-lifetime kind of thing, right?
Right.
And the response on the poll, too, because it was an emotional, a knee-jerk response. They don't care about that article I was pushing, and they don't care about that one. From Saturday, from 9/9.
No.
And here it is. Even though we put it right on top, discover the secret right-wing network behind ABC's 9/11 deception. Only 304 reads. That should have 3,000 reads on our website. 304. Now, if you'd have been a little more clever, Josh, and put the F word or the SH word in there, it would have had 3,000 reads.
That's right.
You just give me the green light. I'll do that to every story.
Yeah, hey, Eric, you want to get a lot more action on our website, all you got to do is put the F word or something like that, or put some body part in the title of the story, man. They'll be on it like Snick on Joyce.
Everywhere where it says Bush, just precede it with effing.
Right, well, we already do that.
You send the story, I'll make up my own titles.
Oh, 1,051 votes. Did I read this or not? JLo 234, best ass. I hate this poll. 14%, 148. Well, we're making a little progress. Angelina Jolie, 147. The Beast, 102. Mariah Carey, 90. She is scary. Britney, 54. Tom Brady, 46. We can't seem to separate those two. Maybe he's the father of her baby.
Ooh.
Well, it sure was looking a hell of a lot better than if K-Fed was. Oh, my God. Who's your daddy? K-Fed. Sofia Vergara, 37. Jessica Biel, 33. I wonder if Jessica is kin to, you know who?
I'm as mad as hell, and I'm not going to take this anymore. Oh!
Howard Beale. Not.
I would only like her more than.
Well, he's connected to the universe and to birds. Oprah, 29. Shakira is zooming up the list, 27, and deservedly so. I'm going to tell you right now, if anybody don't like Shakira, they got to be gay. And even I like her.
And her ass is dangerous. She ought to have a permit for it.
How about Shania Twain? Has she got a dangerous ass? She's Canadian.
I don't know. It's adequate. We have a poster, but
Pam Anderson's Canadian too, and she's dangerous. Every part of her is dangerous.
Yeah,
and disease.
Anything that touches her, right?
I know. Shakira 27, Tom Cruise 18, Brady Quinn's got 14, Jennifer Connelly 10. How come we don't see her anymore? Her or Jared Leto? I know he's got the band. I don't want to hear about his band.
He's touring
with a band.
Right.
But what about movies, man? Requiem was great.
Yes, it was.
And what has he done since then?
I don't know. We could IMDb.
Well, that's why I bring it up, because we like Jared Leto a lot, and Jennifer Connelly, what's not to like? And Sarah Goldfarb, she's still in rehab. Jessica Alba's got 9, Kylie Minogue's got 7, and Kate Hudson's got 6. All right. As we try to get Kate off the bottom. She's only got 6 out of 1,061 vote. Man, I feel there's just a lot of pressure with all this. Oh, and by the way, did I don't know what happened to it. I email you sometimes stories that have like pictures in them, and they just disappear. Nothing ever happens with them. The one about the debate with Wolf Blitzkrieg?
Yeah, I watched it. I got fooled by the title that I thought he was really going to get bitch slapped.
What do you mean by that?
Well, it said,
you mean literally?
Wolf Blitzkrieg gets bitch slapped.
Well, no, verbally, intellectually, but not literally.
I know,
I would pay to see that.
I watched it.
But wasn't that a real good fly opener there about where the hell he's coming from? Anybody who thinks they're going to get any objective news from Wolf Blitzkrieg there, the numero uno Zionist in the universe on CNN, you're dreaming, baby. He's you know where he's hiding? He's hiding his halava in his rectum. That's what I'm hearing. See, if you said it, it would be considered anti-Semitic. It's semantic, but an old Jew like me, I can say it. He is nauseating. Why? Let's see. Wolf Blitzer, CNN's Tel Aviv Rose. Oh, this is from the Queer Arabs blog. Rantings of angry, sarcastic, bitchy queer Arab Americans. Only I can find this. Huh?
That's great. Please share frequently.
At any rate, this was from from Sunday, August 20th. Wolf Blitzer, CNN's Tel Aviv Rose. It says, watching the late edition with Wolf Blitzer is the equivalent of watching a neocon Zionist propaganda hour. While many other reporters and personalities at CNN, like Larry King and Anderson Pooper, have been making attempts at objectivity and fair reporting, Blitzer has pretty much turned over his show to the Israeli and their neocon buddies. That shouldn't come as a surprise when one recalls that Blitzer, who used to live in Jerusalem and worked for the Jerusalem Post, got his job at CNN after intense pressure from pro-Israeli groups in the U.S. who actually believed that the network was not too friendly to the Judeo-fascist state, just for reporting the truth, go figure. Hopefully the powers that be at CNN will inject some balance on that show before we start confusing CNN with that other fair and balanced network. How do you like that from the Queer Arabs blog?
How do you like that?
You fairy.
Yeah. Don't watch Mean Creek, by the way. Now, of course, because I said it, a bunch of people will go out and buy it. And, send us the money instead. We'll just tell you about it, how it stinks. It sucks.
Great idea.
And like I said, you can't complain about the ending because there isn't any. It's kind of like the sports insanity on this radio station. It never ends.
The biggest names.
How's that account coming, by the way, Chris?
Huh? Neil Rogers.
Yeah, where's that info?
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The Pakis. They're the ones that put them in Afghanistan so they'd have buddies running their neighbor to the north. But nevertheless. 11:30. Let's see. 11:30 was that KMOX? No. I always get those confused. After you get to 1100, I get very confused. WHO in Des Moines, Iowa. You better start learning your 50,000-watt giant radio stations, man. Back when it was worth owning a radio.
Right.
Beyonce just went on there. She's already got a pair. And most guys want to see them. I don't. Who has the best ass? J-Lo 239. I hate this pull back up to 14%, 159. Beast has got 106. I'm just skipping around. Tom Brady 48. He's got Vita Gatter beat. She's only got 45. Shakira is zooming up the list. 40.
You go, girl.
You starting in again? Tom Cruise 19. Brady Quinn 14. Oh, I got news for you. Well, there's the madrasas again. Look at that. They're davening, man. And, man, oh man. See, this is what it does to you, that good old-time religion, baby. There's a classic example. And then, of course, when they get to be like 13, 14, 15, oh, yeah, I'm going to kill myself for Allah, baby, for somebody. I'm going to blow myself up. Look at those. Even the little tiny kids, look at that. Pathetic. They make the Orthodox Jews look like pikers. That's with a P. Are you watching it?
They should have a daven-off between.
Are you seeing it? They're davening. A daven-off. I like that.
Instead of having these wars and everything and all this bombing, have a daven-off between the Orthodox Jews and these guys.
That's right.
The last person standing wins
like
it all.
Rock, paper, scissors. Same idea. Who's got the best headgear and who can daven the longest without coming up for oxygen? Oh, that is just pathetic. 9/11's Dark Window of the Future, writes Robert Perry in The Smirkling Chimp. I'm not going to read it. It's a very long article. I'm certainly not going to attempt to read the whole thing here. I don't want to read these. In fact, after these calls I've taken today, I may stop doing this altogether. I may just sit here and vent every day for 4 hours.
Okay.
And scream about management. How's that account coming, by the way? We get any info back? We get any blow back? Good God. Who the hell are they kidding back there? Well, Chris, he's busy. He's a busy guy back there. He's learning English. What? I don't know what you're laughing about. You don't speak English like anybody I've ever talked to.
No?
No.
You've been in Tennessee.
Yeah. He ain't from Tennessee. He's from North Carolina.
I know. They got the same twang.
Yeah, they sure do. He's twanging it. Robert Perry says, as the 5th anniversary of the 9/11 attacks unfolded, it came to look less like a sad remembrance of the past and more like a troubling glimpse into the future, a window to a new age totalitarianism that looms before the U.S., where a powerful right-wing government tells lies aided and abetted by friendly media corporations. That sounds like America today, doesn't it?
Mm-hmm.
So even as the CIA and Senate Intelligence Committee finally acknowledged some of the many Iraq War falsehoods told by George W. Bush and his senior advisors, Bush's misfeasance and malfeasance are obscured by Disney's ABC TV docudrama, pinning most of the blame for 9/11 catastrophe not on Bush, but on Democrats. With Disney's selection of a right-wing director and with the secrecy that surrounded the project, the path to 9/11 also had the sickening feel of a collaboration between a giant corporation and the Republican government in power. So less than 2 months before a pivotal national election, with Americans increasingly wondering how the nation got into the mess it faces today, this joint project of Disney and pro-Bush operatives provides a narrative that focuses not on Bush blowing off CIA warnings of an impending attack in 2001, but on events dating back to 1993. The path to 9/11, which ABC touted as a public service shown with no commercial interruptions, makes some of its right-wing judgments with sneering asides from characters such as wondering if Attorney General Janet Reno had any balls, and others by mixing real and fabricated events to put Democrats in the worst possible light. And by the way, we know in Florida, we know Janet Reno's got big balls.
That's right, Harry.
When the mysterious project finally was unveiled to mainstream media reviewers and when Democrats started complaining about fabricated scenes, the right-wing media responded with a counterattack, accusing the protesting Democrats of threatening the First Amendment's guarantee of free speech. In other words, at a time when Republicans control the White House, the Congress, the U.S. Supreme Court, and increasingly the American media, the Democrats still get transformed into the ones threatening free speech for protesting their harsh and at times false depiction in events that led to the deaths of nearly 3,000 people. Media manipulation also appears likely to play a major part in Republican strategy for beating back Democratic challenges in the November 7th election. In the 8 weeks ahead, Republicans will be expected to exploit their financial and media advantages to wage personal attacks against Democratic challengers, district by district, state by state. About 4 months ago, a Republican political operative told me about this strategy to disqualify Democratic candidates through a combination of negative research called Oppo and the timely dissemination of attack lines to conservative allies in the local and national media. And it goes on and on and on. But, well, you know, what's the point? What's the use? And here's all these little kids coming out of these madrasas again.
Mm-hmm.
I thought that this was all supposed to stop. Wasn't that supposed to stop?
Who told you
and
that?
Of course, you know who started that before the Pakis, don't you? The ones who invented it. The Saudis.
Sure.
The freaking Saudis invented this brainwashing technique where they have their own little... It's like sending all the kids to parochial school, man.
Or summer camp.
Only they do it so much better, man. So much more intense. They just barely get a couple of seconds to come up for air.
Focus on the jihad chapter. Were we seeing the groundwork of recruitment for the next generation of holy warriors?
Absolutely.
Yes, you are. 12:13 at 560 WQM, but what does this have to do with ass?
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers.
Welcome.
Sports Radio 560 QAM.
The time.
It's been brought to my attention that your ratings are dying now. Well, I don't want to show you what a big asset I was to you, and how. You thought you could find somebody good enough to fill my baggy pants? It ain't easy. There ain't no chance I'll ever be coming back. Outside of considering a lucrative contract. If you want to know what'll save you from shutting that transmitter down, why, that's easy. Sure.
All you need is more. All you need is more. All you need is a show. Don't blow.
If your old time slot only got you today, they said my ratings have bottomed out in this tank. When radio has a revolving door for the gayest of the woods and sweetest.
All you need is more.
Now see here.
All you need is more. All you need is a show. Don't blow.
By the way, something.
Yes?
Jack told me to give you this.
What?
You see. What are you going to do, fire me, huh?
Like old times. Jack.
12:19 at 560. I don't see his name on the schedule anywhere. Maybe he's on a weekend now, the Squeakmeister. Do I see him on here? I'm looking on the weekend. I see the Big O is on there. I don't see the Crow anymore either.
No.
Now, did we ever get to the bottom of that, what that was all about?
Sure.
What was it?
Want to say it again? He had some bad things to say to someone.
Yeah.
And so he's out.
Well, who was the someone? Do we know, or does it make a difference, or can we say?
It's a very nice person in accounting who didn't have it coming. And so
that's right. He didn't have his money.
He didn't have his money, and he took it out on the wrong person.
I see. Well, there's nothing worse than somebody gets all bent out of shape if they don't get paid on payday.
Right. Well, apparently he used some unsavory language, and
did he really?
He crossed
several lines. He didn't say
lines.
"see you next time," did he?
I don't know the particulars.
I sure hope he didn't say use that one.
But he went over lines, yes.
His parents would have had to come in and explain, draw him a diaphragm.
Who would say such a thing anyway?
Lindsay Lohan. Contra Costa Times Politics weblog says, Republicans read Playboy. You ready for this?
Okay.
Hypocrites, phonies, liars. Playboy magazine commissioned a poll to address what is called a common misconception that the majority of its readers are liberal Democrats. And what would you have thought?
Oh, I know the Republicans are filthy, dirty, hypocrites, sex perverts, porn-mongering, so I would have thought about 50-50.
Well, this says people think only Democrats read Playboy. Who knew? Playboy surveyed 1,000 people. Half were drawn from an actually representative sample of adults aged 21 and older, while the other half came from its subscriber rolls. The odd premise aside, the magazine's Playboy voter feature in this month's edition outlined the following conclusions from its survey. 79% of those surveyed voted in the 2004 presidential election, 15 points higher than the national average. 36% of its readers are Republicans compared to 25% Democrat, 25% Independent, and 14% other parties, like party animals. 72% of Playboy readers favor stem cell research compared with 61% of the non-reader group sampled. Half of Playboy's readers oppose a ban on gay marriage, double the number in the non-reader group. Half of Playboy's readers oppose a ban. Well, that's because they're looking at naked women. If it was Playgirl doing the same thing, probably half of the readers would oppose a ban on whatever, straight marriage. Half of the readers oppose a ban on gay marriage. See, I'm not following. That's not worded right. See that?
Mm-hmm.
Oppose the ban. Sure, how many Republicans, you think?
About 30, man.
This is the first of a two-part look at voting patterns of Playboy readers. The second segment will appear in the November edition, according to a release from the magazine. Aren't you shocked 36% of Playboy readers are Republicans?
I would have thought more.
Oh, my God. And only 25% Democrats. And you know what they would say? Well, the Democrats are the ones reading Playgirl. The guys. That's what they would say, isn't it?
Mm-hmm, sure.
They would say,
you fairy.
1,171 votes. Now, did Kate Hudson get off the bottom yet? Oh, she got off the bottom. And that's only because we got two latecomers that are going to hurdle over her skinny ass. Beyonce's got 7 and Scarlett Johansson 7. They're bottom feeding at the moment. Oh, there's Ohud Helmert.
With the Palestinian Authority.
Get out of here. Kasachois. Kate Hudson's got 8. They got 7. Kylie Minogue 9. Jennifer Connelly 11. See, they've forgotten all about poor Jennifer Connelly and Requiem for a Dream. Mm-hmm. We better start promoting that movie again. Isn't that the one that Miguel said he hated like poison, didn't understand it?
I forgot.
Oh, no, that was Network that Josh fell asleep during. Sorry. Brady Quinn, 14. Tommy Cruise, 20. Jessica Alba, 27. Oh, I'm going from the bottom up, in case you haven't noticed.
Mm-hmm.
Where did I get stopped? Tommy Cruise.
I forgot.
Me too. Jessica Alba, 29. Oprah, 32. Sofia Vergara, 39. Jessica Biel's ass, they think it's lovely, 42. Shakira, 44. Tom Brady, 49. He's right on Vita Guerra's butt. She's got 50. He's got 49. Brittany, 54. I don't think Tom Brady's got a hot ass. Well, maybe hot, but... Mariah Carey, 90. 93. The Beast, 106. Angelina Jolie, 153. I hit this pool, 164. And J-Lo, she's kicking ass, 245. Nobody can touch her ass, and then again, who the hell would want to? I noticed that Puffy P. Diddy, he wanted to become just Diddy.
Yeah, did he?
I think the answer is no, he did not. At least not her. But then he got sued. There was somebody in Britain has already got that name trademarked or something. You see that?
I did not.
So now he's just huffing and puffing. Amy Fagan in the Washington Times writes, Senate seat on line for GOP in Rhode Island primary. Today is election day, baby. It's primary day. Not in Florida, but around the country, some impotent stuff. Senate Republicans face the prospect of one less seat Wednesday morning, party leaders say, if Senator Lincoln Chafee, or as, what's his name, Chris Matthews calls him on hardballs, Link Chafee, to show, his familiarity, Link. If Senator Lincoln Chafee, a liberal, loses his primary here today to conservative challenger Stephen Laffey, it'll be no Laffey matter, I'll tell you that, for the Republicans. Mr. Laffey has no chance to win a general election. We would find ourselves down a seat going into the November election, said Dan Ronayne, spokesman for the Republican and National Senatorial Committee. Mr. Ronayne has said the committee will not back Mr. Laffey if he wins, but is confident that Chafee will prevail today. If Laffey wins, Senate Minority Leader Harry Reid is one step closer to being Majority Leader, agreed David Winston, tastes good like a cigarette should, a district-based Republican pollster. You know, bitter. How many people in this audience do you think care about the Rhode Island Senate race? How many do you think?
About 30, man.
No chance.
About what?
I would say more like maybe 8. Yeah. So what the hell am I reading this for?
Mm-hmm.
For you, for your benefit. Did you vote? Did you go to Rhode Island and vote yet?
No. I'll be right back, though.
As a result, the National Republican machine has devoted time, money, and resources to securing a primary victory for Link Chafee. Well, I'll tell you, that Chris Matthews, you talk about a guy that talks out both sides of his ass. He makes me sick. In fact, I'll say it again. The only person on MSNBC that I like is Keith Olbermann. The rest of the network is garbage, man. Garbage. Pure garbage. They even took Lester Holt off the air. We very rarely see him anymore, and you have no idea who that is either. Who? I'll tell you one thing. There isn't a man in the world that wouldn't want to have the voice that Lester Holt's got, man. He makes Walter Cronkite sound like Geldy. How do you like that?
Wow.
Well, I'm telling you, he's got a big, deep, booming voice. He's a great newsreader guy, Lester Holt. You never saw him? Black guy?
Who?
He's
that
great.
guy.
You never saw Lester Holt.
Never heard of him.
Christ, when the hell are you going to get with that? And you still don't watch Keith Olbermann. What's wrong with you?
I told you it's a bad time.
What, 8 to 9 p.m. on MSNBC?
That's right. That's chaos time at our house.
You could record it.
You know what? I
If
could.
you could figure out how to make that thing work.
One of these days I will.
You could PVR, DVR it. 27 past noon. Hey, listen, I'm swimming upstream like a guppy. You know, I'm used to that. I don't care. All they care about is Shakira's ass and about, Lindsay Lohan's whatever. That's all they know. And you want to know why? Because they're not because they're depraved, but because they're deprived. That's the problem. If they were getting any, they wouldn't be quite so concerned. It's like people that are worrying about what everybody else and who they're doing, you know?
Mm-hmm.
If it's time to get a new mattress because maybe you've been doing too much on there and wore that baby out in the mattress too. Don't waste your time and money driving to stores all over town, especially those bedding and department stores where they rip you off and you got to waste all that gas and comparison shop. Forget about it. It's easy to get you a great mattress. Just make that one easy call like I've been doing for years. Call 1-800-MATTRESS. Get yourself factory direct prices lower than the chain stores, even during their so-called big sales. Plus, Dial Mattress has got 12-month financing, too. Call 1-800-MATTRESS. You'll get the lowest prices on the best brands. Sealy and Serta, King Coil and Simmons, Tempur-Pedic, Stearns and Bananas Foster, too. Dial Mattress is ranked #1 in the world of customer satisfaction. I've been telling you about that for years, and they continue to be because nobody can match their deal. The best price and certainly the best delivery. 99.7% of the time they're on time. You pick the date and time you want that new mattress delivered, 7 days a week, 8 a.m. to 10 p.m. Pick the 2-hour window, and they show up on time. Even the very same day that you call, and of course, Dial Mattress delivers all the way around. Now that is real service. Call them today. You can be sleeping like a child as soon as tonight and for years to come in real comfort. Dial a Mattress, 1-800-MATTRES, 1-800-MATTRESS. Leave out the last S because it stands for stupendous savings.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Afraid. Be very afraid.
Oh, I just want to be the Taliban. Put some planes up in the air. Bomb Afghanistan. Oh, let me beat. Oh, let him beat. The Taliban. Really don't like Al-Qaeda. Think I've had enough. Just want to find the hideout of Osama bin Laden and blow it up. Oh, just want to be the Taliban. While I watch those refugees run to Pakistan. Oh, let me beat, oh, let him beat the Taliban. I just want to be all those terrorists. Have some fun by killing Muslim fundamentalists. So let me beat, oh, let him beat the Taliban. Don't really like Al-Qaeda. I tell you I've had enough. I want to find the hideout of Osama bin Laden and blow it up. Oh, just wanna be the Taliban. Put some planes up in the air. Bomb Afghanistan. Oh, let me beat. Oh, let him beat the Taliban. Taliban. Drop a bomb upon him. Oh, let me beat. Oh, let him beat the Taliban. Drop a bomb upon him. Oh, let me beat. Oh, let him beat the Taliban. I just want to beat the Taliban.
No, you know, I'm playing a little of that, and I mean very little.
Yeah, why?
Because I hate that song.
That's good.
No, the Jordanaires were the guys that backed up Elvis and all those. They were the background singers.
Okay.
Remember the Jordanaires?
Yes, I saw that.
Remember the one guy, that tall, skinny, goofy-looking guy who looked like somebody from the Lawrence Welk Show? Yeah. Bop, bop, bop. That's all they did. Bop, 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 bop. See? That took a lot of talent, I'm sure. Anyway, I know you hate Elvis like poison. That's one of the things that makes you a great American. Wait till you hear this.
What?
Comair was using an outdated chart of Lexington's Bluegrass Airport when that crash happened.
How do you like that?
And the airline is now urging pilots to use extreme caution. Oh, too late. They got a big banner there, remembering 5191. There's a bunch of flowers, but I think they'd probably rather have the people alive and forget the flowers. Airline spokeswoman Kate Marks said yesterday the alert was prompted because the airline had an old diagram of Bluegrass Airport. A week before the crash, an airport repaving project changed the taxi route leading to the 7,000-foot main runway that they should have used, but they didn't. Comair received a new chart 2 weeks after the crash killed 49 of the 50 people on board. The previous chart had been updated since January. I think when you get on a plane now and then, maybe it would be a good idea to yell out to the pilot, go up to the cockpit and say, before they close the door, "Hey, Captain, we got a new diaphragm here. What's going on?"
Are you causing trouble? You must be a terrorist.
That's true. They'll take your ass away. Late last week, the company updated its dispatch information for Bluegrass Airport cockpit crews with a warning that some runway diagrams didn't accurately reflect all the current signs and markings. I see. A little late now. That's pathetic. I just can't, as I get older and older, it just makes me want to vomit. We just don't care about human life. It's just numbers, man. Just numbers. But that's just the world the way it is, and there's nothing you can do about it. It's always been that way. Just like all those people in that thing, that catacombs. Mm-hmm. All those skulls and bones. In case you haven't noticed, man, a lot of dead people around. Oh, look at that. Democrats blast a Bush speech.
The Hamas-led government of Prime Minister Ismail Haniyeh has agreed to join a unity government with Palestinian Authority President Mahmoud Abbas's more moderate Fatah party. Israel, the U.S., and the European Union have said Hamas must recognize Israel's right to exist.
Or else. 1,205 votes on the poll about ass, man. That's where it's at. Forget about all this stuff about Israel and Lebanon and Iraq and Iran and Afghanistan and Taliban, man. Forget that, man.
What's it got to do with Lindsay Lohan?
What's it got to do with Lindsay Lohan's privates, and what has it got to do with who's going to win the game, and the fact that the Marlins still can't draw flies? Now, let me ask you, did it rain yesterday? Was there inclement weather? Was it a bad, nasty day?
No, not at all.
It was a nice day. Good day for a ball game, huh? Go out there and get a couple of wieners, sit there and enjoy. The Marlins are hotter than a firecracker. These kids, that Dan Ugly kid and all these other guys. Who's the kid that hit the 3 home runs?
Cody Ross.
Cody Ross. I bet you he's related to Rosie Ross. In fact, he probably helps drive him to the Pine Cone Inn every Friday night when they're not playing. What? I don't know Cody Ross from Walter Ross, from Red Ross. I don't know who the hell that is. From Betsy Ross. And he had 3 home runs yesterday and knocked in 7, I do believe. Am I right?
You're right.
See, I know my crap, and you want to know why? Because it doesn't take long to figure it out. You just go on there and read like the synopsis of it, and you say, hey, look at that, 16-5. They kicked some ass again. Well, the Mets have nothing to play for. They had that thing locked up for months now, right?
Well, yeah, but it's not like they're not trying.
I didn't say they weren't trying. I'm not trying to say they were laying down, because that would be the last thing that the Mets would do, would be lay down for the Marlins, for Jeffrey Loria. I wonder how Jeffrey's getting along with Joe Girardi these days, huh? I'd like to see Joe Girardi just kick his ass. Wouldn't that be great? Of course, David Sampson, he could just sit on him. 1,211 votes on the poll. Who has the best ass? And J-Lo continues to be way out in front, man. She leads the pack. Nobody can touch it. I said that before. Quit saying it. Okay, let's take a bunch of really good calls here. And thanks to the people that are sending in the polls. Thank you, Steve and Mike in Melbourne. Although your second pull, Mike, is pretty weak, but nevertheless, I'll take anything at this point and think about them. Steve's puller is a good suggestion, don't you?
Sure, I do.
I'm going to use that for tomorrow. I'm not going to give you the tip-off on it right now, because then people will be calling in, huh? No, never tip them off.
No.
Never, this is not part of that Head Start program. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon and Singular wireless line. Now, did you get a response from our sales department, from Chris Jones, our sales manager, about those forget about the copy thing and forget about the fact that Troy Stratford's name is still in that horrible piece of copy. Hey, listen, if I wrote that, I wouldn't put my name on it either. But what about the other thing?
No.
Now, what does that tell you? Isn't that a little bit disturbing, or am I just overreacting?
No, not really. I'm not disturbed at all.
I am. I mean, that account's been on how many years now? A zillion years.
Right.
It would be nice to know if I get a new piece of something for that. It would be nice to know if that's supposed to be on or not, as opposed to just saying, "Oh no, we checked and it's running tomorrow," or whatever. Or they died and they closed up shop. Whatever it is, Chris. That's all I asked. An easy question. Does he respond?
No.
Do we get an answer? Is there any follow through?
No.
Nothing. Zippity doodah.
Maybe it's still being researched.
See, this is not good for my mental health being on here 5 days a week. I'm going back to Tuesday and Thursday. Screw that. How the hell with this? That's the part that's aggravating, is that even being a zillion miles away from them, they just tear your kishkis out, man.
You need to stop caring.
I can't stop caring, okay?
You need a lobotomy.
I'll go into my box. When they stick my fat ass in a box, the ashes in an urn, I'll still be caring, okay?
Have you tried drugs?
No, but I think I'm going to start.
Well, let me recommend a couple.
No, I don't need any help. Believe me, here we got whatever you want. It's out there. WQAM, hello.
Oh, Shakira.
WQAM, hello.
Yeah, Neil.
Yes, sir.
Big ass. My girlfriend's got a fine ass.
Okay, good. WQAM, hello.
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
I want to speak to whoever's in charge at WQAM.
WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil. Just got back from Florida. Great time.
Oh, he's fading, though. WQAM, hello.
Hey, Neil. How you doing, buddy?
Okay, sir.
Is Charo on that list of yours today?
Charo?
Yeah, Charo.
Just because she's in that Geico spot, don't start bringing her sorry ass back.
She's a lovely, lovely guest.
You want to put Charo on there?
Yeah, please, sir.
What about Vern Troyer?
Take care, sir.
Okay. What about Mini Me, baby? I tell you, that is the greatest ad campaign.
Yes, it is.
And just when you think that you've seen them all, they keep coming up with these new ones.
Right. Little Richard is still the best, though.
Little Richard is the best, and the best part about that is, and each time you see it, you watch it a little bit more closely. The blank look on the woman's face. She's talking about her claim and her accident, and he's just going crazy, and the mashed potatoes, and she's just sitting there with that same blank look on her face. It's just fabulous.
I wonder if the other person was warned what the celebrity is going to do.
No. What, you think they did that in one take? You know the amount of money they spend on those spots?
I know.
They do those over and over and over again, man. It's a beautiful thing. And who the hell? Who needs that stupid gecko anyway?
I hate the gecko.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Baby, only in Miami.
Experience the new fall line of car for him or her. Comfortable clothing for today's sexually confused people. Lightweight shirts with buttons that button all the way up to your neck. Ed Grimley. It's not nerdy. It's purty. To show a man who knows he's crazy. Car for him or her. A complete line of pleated linen pants that you can pull all the way up to your bosom.
I just love a man who wears a car original. Wait a minute. That's that crazy, creepy guy? Oh, hell no.
Car for him or her. Act now and get a limited edition John Carr Sings Weird Creepy Song CD with every $50 car purchase. Available at all Crazy's department stores.
1247 at 560 WQM for the second time in one day. I have to agree with George. That's a bad precedent. What's that? Well, I'm looking at the picture you sent me that you emailed me. Now, here's Kate Hudson is walking the dog.
Yeah, you see what the dog's doing, too, by the way?
Yeah, the dog is squatting, by the way, so he's really showing us his ass.
Right.
Because it's a picture from behind.
And it's shapelier than
They're
hers.
on the beach. He's walking this ugly, gross dog. It looks like a bulldog or something. Well, what kind of a dog would you say that is?
I don't know. A mutt. A schnauzer.
Maybe. Brown. Well, I shouldn't say brown. But anyway, there's something brown there in the sand. But the dog is squatting, and the dog's got a bigger ass than she does.
Yeah.
That's not even a contest.
No.
You're right. She has no ass.
She has no ass. She has no
How can
body.
she have a great ass when she has no ass?
She has no boobs, and her face is kind of weak. Other than that, she's great.
She's fabulous, man.
Oh, and she can't act. But other than that, yeah.
What's not to like? And she's full of crap and phony, but beside that, the price must have been right. Wow.
So, that guy can have her. We won't be fighting.
Okay. She's all yours, Pally, whoever the hell I was. David Lindorf's got a great idea on the Smirkling Chimp. It says commemorating 9/11 by impeaching the president. Isn't that a good idea?
It's a great
but
idea.
It's much, much too long. I'm not going to start reading this. I wouldn't be done till midnight. We'll have it on our website today, tomorrow, whenever the hell Josh gets around to it. And the fact of the matter is that you're not reading the stories that you're supposed to anyway. So just put a couple of F words in it or something. All right. Commemorating effing 9/11 by impeaching the effing president or something like that. The mother effing, Zimbalist Jr. Ann Wright writes, banned in Washington, where's the free speech? So much for free speech in the nation's capital and capital, A-L and O-L. On July 11, 2006, I was arrested for offering a citizen's voice in the Senate Judiciary Committee hearing against the nomination of one of the Bush administration's architects of torture, William Haynes, former Department of Defense General Counsel, for a lifetime appointment to the Fourth Circuit Court of Appeals. September 7th, I appeared in the Criminal Division of the Superior Court of the District of Columbia on charges of disorderly and disruptive conduct on the United States Capitol grounds on July 11, 2006. During that appearance, I was ordered by the court to stay away from the U.S. Capitol, all Senate and House office buildings, and committee hearing rooms, and the streets surrounding the Capitol area. The court papers state that I must abide by this order until my case is disposed of, and that any violation of this order could result in your prosecution for contempt of court, the revocation of your release and or your detention pending final disposition of this case. I was released on my personal recognizance, but instructed in writing that a warrant for your arrest will be issued immediately upon any violation of a condition of this release, and shall subject you to revocation of the release. An order of detention and prosecution for contempt of court, a fine of not more than $1,000 or imprisonment not more than 6 months or both. Another paragraph said that if you're convicted of an offense committed while released, you shall be subject to the following penalties. Imprisonment of not less than 1 year and not more than 5 years if convicted of committing a felony while released, and imprisonment of not less than 90 days and not more than 1 year if convicted of committing a misdemeanor while released, such to be consecutive to any other sentence of imprisonment. All of these prohibitions are because I stated in the U.S. Congress that I'm opposed to torture and that the Congress should not confirm a person associated with the Bush administration's torture policies. These court orders definitely curtail my ability to voice to the U.S. Congress my concerns and the concerns of much of the American people about important issues they're considering, like the following the Congress will consider next week. Bush's demand that Congress authorize greater warrantless wiretap authority. Bush's demand that Congress agree to military tribunals where defendants can be tried and convicted without seeing the evidence. That classified evidence can be used with neither defendants nor their lawyers told about such information. That prosecutors can rely on hearsay or evidence obtained indirectly and evidence obtained by coercion if the panel chief deemed it reliable and directly related to the accusations. Bush's demand that Congress agree to keep CIA secret detention sites in other countries operational. And Bush's demand that Congress confirm John Bolton as U.S. ambassador to the UN. Don't you believe that these are issues that we the people must instruct our Congress on how we feel? Of course you can call, write, or email your senators and congresspersons, but I like to go to the committee rooms and look our elected officials in the eye and tell them what I think. It doesn't take long to tell them because the Capitol police officer in the hearing room usually arrives at your side quickly when you speak out. When you speak out in a committee room, our elected officials, those who serve us, are left with a succinct statement of concerns about the issues. Hearings would probably be a lot better if the congresspersons had the same police at their elbows demanding shorter statements. I do understand that committees not take time generally to hear from the public in their committee rooms. Lobbying for an issue is done in the halls and offices, but I think there's a role for a lightning comment, but it comes with the risk of being arrested for disrupting the hearing, or at a minimum being escorted out of the hearing and later released. Now that I'm banned from the Capitol area, I hope others will come to the Congress and express their views. We the people must tell Congress to be brave and courageous in these perilous times. Now of all times, we need strong character and moral courage from our Congress. Right. She was doing well till she got to the last paragraph. Just like it says in that movie, baby, Why We Fight. Mm-hmm. The military, industrial, and congressional complex. And in the fourth part of it, of course, the think tanks. Mm-hmm. The stinking think tanks.
Oh, my God.
Like the Heritage Foundation and all these other right-wing organizations. There are a few liberal think tanks, but like maybe 3, as opposed to 80 million right-wing think tanks.
Right, well, they have more money.
Stink tanks. That's correct. 1,235 votes. They didn't care about Richard Mellon Scaife and his finger in that thing with David Horowitz and that phony thing on ABC. They didn't care about that. But that's the way it goes. I'm going to continue pressing on. I have my moments. In fact, the one thing that just bugs me the most, how many seconds would it have taken to pick up the phone on the intercom and to buzz you, or to walk in there and give you a note, or during a break and say, so-and-so isn't on today, it's on tomorrow, or whatever the brief answer was to the question. Because the last 2 times I brought that up about another account, turns out that who was right?
Yeah.
I was.
Yeah.
And again, it's not costing me any money, it's costing them money.
Right.
Now, maybe they'd rather run all these trade-out spots like they have in this next break. That's fine, as opposed to getting paid. That's fine by me. I don't think so, though.
See, it's not that I'm not concerned about certain things, but it's not the sales department that I'm concerned with.
What are you concerned with?
Our lead-in number.
Well, we seem to be doing pretty well.
We're doing all right.
We're doing great. We're not doing pretty well. We're doing great.
There's no reason to be complacent.
No, I would agree with that. Now you're trying to interfere with Kenny and Bo's show again.
I would never.
Now you're going to come on here and say they're talking too much sports.
I would never.
And then Joe Bell come in there at 2 o'clock and kick your ass.
He might.
And probably pee right there. Now that he can actually do it, he's going to pee right there on the counter.
I got a fresh roll of paper towels.
Well, good. And then Chris Jones will come in and say, what's he bitching about, man? No, he doesn't speak like that. He speaks with a real southern drawl. Y'all.
Yes, he does.
And then when he tells me that this new guy, Hank, not connected with the other Hank, but this new that's enough. The new sales guy, Hank, is, what was the expression he used about how thorough and detailed, and then he didn't even put his name on a piece of copy. And, of course, I use the term copy loosely. At any rate, quit your bitching. Just take the check every 2 weeks. You're right. I need mental help.
Hypnotherapy or something.
I need to see Bert Tannen, man. Right. I need to have him put me in a coma again.
Maybe some needles in your eyes or something.
Why does this man not stop? Okay, if it's going to be schlock, just schlock your way through life. That's all.
That's it. Don't care more than they do. See, that's
correct. Schlock. That's why when the guys were doing across the street 0.5s and 0.9s, we were doing like 1s and 2s as opposed to like 7s and 8s. God. Oh, here's the story about those stingrays.
Not to attack stingrays.
What?
People
They're
are
pissed
silly.
off, man.
People are incredibly gay.
Is that what it is?
Yeah.
You think
gay?
Well, down under, man.
Well,
that's how they call it down under.
I don't mean gay in the
Australia.
homosexual way. Gay and silly in a lame way.
Very, very silly things that people do. That is correct, because most people are idiots. But then when you look at those madrasas, I'm glad that they're showing that over and over again, because the American public hasn't seen that enough. They wonder how people can become so fanatic, and of course they don't want to show too much of it, because then they'll start thinking about, this has to do with religious brainwashing, and they don't want to talk too much about that.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Not just the 1 to 2 hour, it's a phenomenon!
Chris is gay. He's a flaming homo. That's what Florida Christian rednecks don't know. Charlie Christ is a screaming, leaping bay. Christ's a proof. Ask him if he'll say no. Just for proof, he'll bring his voice down real low. Charlie Christ is gubernatorially gay.
Gay.
Christ is gay, for men he bends right over, swishy fay, and pink cigar smoker, come what may. Without lead in his loafers, he floats away. Christ is gay, but fervently denies it. Right-wing redneck Christian types don't buy it, but Jane Gang Charlie likes a daisy chain. Charlie Chris is a screaming, leaping fag.
You fair. 101 at 560. I think it's great. I hope that he wins. Of course, I don't want him to be the next governor, but if he does, because who the hell ever heard of Jim Davis?
Who?
But, yeah, exactly. But if he does win, I think that after he gets inaugurated, then he ought to be publicly outed, like in the public square, and then all the right-wingers will say, woe is us, how did they tell us, Wait till you hear this.
What?
Port St. Lucie, that's where all the heavy-duty stuff happens.
Okay.
A 77-year-old local man who reportedly admitted looking up women's skirts for 13 years.
Wow, he was up a stiff neck.
Was arrested yesterday in connection with an incident last month at a Walmart supercenter in St. Lucie West. Harry Tasker of the 500 block of Southeast Anchor Lane faces a video voyeurism charge. Tasker, who declined comment today, reportedly told investigators he had been looking up women's skirts without their knowledge for about 13 years.
Haven't we all?
He said he used a mirror from the stores to stare up their skirts. Police learned of Tasker after a woman found him with a cell phone behind her. I think it's horrendous, said Connie Sue, 57, one of Tasker's neighbors. He just kept looking at you every time I walked past.
Mm-hmm.
And, of course, the fact that he was down on the floor on his hands and knees with his cell phone flopped open.
Doing the worm crawling across the floor on his back.
Right. Always looking straight up. 1,242 votes on the poll. We got a shot at 1,300. That wouldn't be too bad, would it?
We'll take it.
Since this has nothing to do with 9/11, but it does have to do with ass. Huh?
Right.
Oh, there's the Taliban again. And look at that. They're all dressed up there. And like one of the Pakis said, he said, well, how the hell do we know the Taliban from the other guys? The schmatas are all the same. The beards are all the same. How do we know?
You shoot them all and let God sort them out.
That's the way to do it. That's the excuse anyway. The fact that they're cozying up again to the Taliban and Mullah Omar and all those guys.
And as far as the kids, well, you saw that Madrasa video. They're going to grow up to be terrorists anyway. So just, blow them all away.
Until we blow up Pakistan, I think we need to play that again and again. But they're not going to do it. Now, they're our good buddies, baby.
Mm-hmm.
Tom Hayes writes, now what is this from? Is this from anything we should be... Capitol Hill Blue. Well, thank God. I should read that Doug Thompson thing over and over again. Just nonstop.
For
He's so
time's
good.
sake.
He doesn't pull any punches. He tells it like it is. He said that Bush is crazier than a bedbug and irresponsible and a madman and a lunatic. All of these things.
And that's why they won't let him on a plane.
Tom Hayes says there were different men going in different directions, one a visiting Egyptian student on scholarship, the other an ex-cop in a dead-end job as a hotel security guard. But an aviation radio left in a high-rise hotel brought Abdallah Higazi and Ronald Ferry together, an unfortunate footnote to the 9/11 terrorist attacks.
You Ferry!
In his zeal to fight terror, Ferry twisted the truth about the radio, capable of contacting commercial pilots from the ground, and triggered an investigation that needlessly landed Higazi in jail for a month. 5 years later, Higazi, 35, is back in Egypt, where he views his case as a parable about the false suspicions endured by innocent young Arab and Muslim men following the attacks. Not all the victims of 9/11 were in the Twin Towers and Pentagon, he said in a recent interview. There were other victims, too. Attempts by the AP to contact Ferry 53 were unsuccessful. There was no telephone listening for him, and his former attorney said they were out of touch. Speaking by phone from Cairo, Higazi recalled being thrilled when he arrived in the U.S. on August 27, 2001, to begin a graduate program in computers. His college temporarily put him up in a room on the 51st floor at the Millennium Hotel in the shadow of the World Trade Center. He was there on the morning of 9/11 when the plane struck with a force that shook the hotel. During an evacuation, he managed to grab only a student ID and cash. He later found housing in Brooklyn and started school. Enter Ferry. The Millennium security guard, who had quit the Newark, New Jersey police force because of a drug problem, was assigned in October to inventory items left behind by guests, court papers said. He reported to a supervisor that among the belongings found in a safe in room 5101 were the aviation radio and an Egyptian passport, Higazi's. The discovery was troubling to investigators who believed a conspirator could have used the handheld device to coordinate with the hijackers of aiming airliners at the Twin Towers. It was considered an extremely important item of evidence, one government filer said. Remember we were hearing about that at the time?
Yep.
That guy with the radio. When Higazi was summoned to the hotel in December to retrieve his belongings, the FBI confronted him with a radio. I'm sorry, this isn't mine, he told agents. The FBI brushed aside his denials and arrested him as a material witness. He was sure someone would quickly realize he'd been framed until he spotted Zacharias Moussaoui inside a jail in Lower Manhattan. The man already known as the 20th hijacker was lodged in the same maximum security wing. Being in Moussaoui's company and being strip-searched, shackled, and insulted by guards was unnerving to a moderate Muslim who had never even read the Quran. Oh, and those kids will teach him how to do it. Rockin' and sockin', baby. That's when it really sunk in that I was in a very, very serious situation, he said. He agreed to a polygraph examination. He stuck to the truth until an FBI agent made veiled threats against his family in Egypt. He broke down and responded with wild and contradictory tales. He found the radio in the subway. No, he stole it from the Egyptian military. Citing his confession, federal authorities charged him on January 11, 2002 with making false statements. 3 days later, a private pilot who was staying on one floor below Hegazy at the Millennium September 11th returned to the hotel looking for his aviation radio. Ferry recanted his story on January 16th, court papers said. The same day, with no explanation, a deputy U.S. Marshal removed Hegazy's shackles and told him, "You're free to go." About a year later, Hegazy sued the hotel and the FBI agent who coerced his false statements for $20 million. He reached an undisclosed settlement with the hotel. A judge later cleared the agent, a ruling that's still being appealed. Now married and teaching computer courses, Hegazy still blames Ferry for fooling the government. He says, "You Ferry!" But he also has fond memories of New Yorkers who, after recognizing him from news accounts, greeted him with kind words after he was freed. "Aren't you the Egyptian man?" he recalled some saying. "We're sorry." Ferry, who pleaded guilty on February 27, 2002 to lying to the FBI about the radio, served a sentence of weekends in jail for 6 months, then faded back into obscurity. His motives remain murky as well. That was during a time of patriotism, he said at his sentencing, and I'm very, very sorry for that mistake. And we would say, don't do it again. See, that's one of the bad things that happens when you have any kind of a radio.
Yeah?
Even
an AM radio?
Oh, that's the worst. That's the absolute worst. I mean, if we don't care about spots, why should we care about listeners, right?
Oh, yeah.
12:54, what do you think? We got 1,300 on our horizon?
You can do it.
I think we got a shot, man. Sounds like it. 5670560, pound 560 on the Verizon. We're easing back into a few calls here and there. We don't want to overdo it. You know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
We don't want to put too much pressure on them. No pressure. Because if they feel pressure to call in, then they got to say something. And then, of course, if they don't say something, then we bitch them out. So they feel very intimidated.
Well, I'm noticing
Vita
Guerra is just climbing this pole.
Is she?
Fast, yeah. I'm going to send you a picture of her
she's
ass.
living La Vida Loca. She's got 60. She's got a long way to go to catch Mariah Carey, I'll tell you that. And what about Shakira that was making such a big move? Oh, she's doing
well,
okay.
but Vita Guerra has an ass.
Shakira passed Tom Brady. She's got 53, and poor Tommy's stuck there at 49. And Brady Quinn, he's only got 15. Well, he's just a beginner, you know. He's new to the ass scene. And if you believe that, man. Eric Margolis in the Toronto Sun writes, "Where we stand now." He says there's been no successful attack on North America since 9/11, but the U.S. and Canada have generated new enemies. He says 5 years after the 9/11 attacks, here's where we stand. Are North Americans safer? Yes. Before 9/11, the administration of U.S. President George Bush, like its predecessor, ignored warnings of attacks. Today, security agencies are vigilant, though information sharing remains a problem. Intensified border controls have raised North America's security, but have hurt tourism and trade and bedeviled travelers. Dangerous gaps remain at sea and airports. While ignorant U.S. congressmen call Canada a hotbed of terrorism, there are 12 million illegal aliens in the U.S. This ludicrous situation makes a mockery of U.S. national security. Improved North American security has been partly offset by new enemies for the U.S. and Canada generated by the wars in Iraq and Afghanistan. Terrorism and 9/11 are being furiously milked by the Bush administration to rekindle fears among U.S. voters prior to the November elections. Just before the tight 2004 Bush-Kerry fixed election, a tape of Osama threatening America boosted Bush's rating 4 points, helping him win. A new bin Laden tape with 9/11 hijacker surfaced on Thursday. The hastily enacted U.S. Patriot Act enabled governments to sweep away laws protecting individual rights and begin the torture, wiretapping, surveillance, jailing without charges, and record minding found in totalitarian states. In a wise, informative new book, Being Muslim, author Haroon Siddiqui describes how 83,000 mostly Muslim terrorism suspects were arrested in the U.S. and abroad. Only 40 were convicted of terrorism. 100 of them died in custody. These blanket arrests and a McCarthyite anti-Muslim witch hunt, observed Siddiqui, have created a sense of psychological internment among 7 million American and Canadian Muslims. In Afghanistan, an anti-Al-Qaeda operation has turned into a classic 19th century colonial war against unruly Pashtun tribesmen, costing $2 billion a month. Washington failed to impose a viable regime. Afghanistan is producing 80% of the world's heroin. Taliban and its nationalist allies are resurgent. Americans and Canadians aren't being told the truth about the growing mess there. Sending troops to Afghanistan, ensuring the destruction of Lebanon, seriously endangered Canada's national security, though it may help lumber exports. Iraq. 9/11 provided an uncannily perfect pretext for a cabal of Washington's far rightists to launch wars for oil and world domination. Some $300 billion and nearly 3,000 American lives later, the war in Iraq is lost. Originally with 300 members, Al-Qaeda has been demolished, but after 5 years and billions spent, with 22,000 U.S. troops and an army of CIA agents still hunting them, ultimate survivalist bin Laden Ayman al-Zawahiri still remain elusive, mocking Bush, urging new attacks on the West. Al-Qaeda has morphed into a worldwide anti-American movement whose force and numbers are spreading. Bin Laden focused on the rage of 1.5 billion Muslims over the agony of Lebanon, Palestine, Chechnya, Iraq, Kashmir, and Afghanistan, inspiring violent homegrown groups in Madrid, London, Miami, and Toronto. Osama bin Laden remains a hero for defying the might of the West. Che Guevara in a turban. Can this war be won? It's not a real war, but an international police intelligence operation against disparate groups fighting Western political and economic domination. It cannot be won by further militarizing the conflict. The right response is, 1, patient vigilance but without East German-style security, and 2, resolving festering political issues roiling the Muslim world. Who's winning? In the early 90s, bin Laden stated the only way to drive America's influence from the Middle East was to attack its economy and bleed it dry by a series of small wars. Afghanistan and Iraq fulfilled 2 of its scenarios. Still, it's too early to tell. How grave the threat? Only nuclear weapons present a truly catastrophic threat. Al-Qaeda so far has none. Fanning terrorism makes good press and benefits politicians, but terrorism is not an existential threat to the U.S. or even the major one. Since 9/11, motor vehicle accidents have killed at least 20 times more Americans than Al-Qaeda. There's been no successful attack on North America for 5 years, but having generated so many new enemies, the U.S. and now Canada remain prime targets. Disturbingly, many Americans, one poll says 33%, believe their government is covering up facts about the 9/11 attacks or was somehow even involved in them. Oh, who would say that?
I don't know, some commie.
Bunch of commie pinko bastard troublemakers, sounds like to me. 113 at 560 WQAM. We got the Mad Dog coming up at 2. The Power Hour, 4 to 5. I heard a little bit of that, I think a week ago Friday, or maybe last Friday. I made a point to come in and listen for a while. Sounds like they're having a good time.
Good.
Well, you're not listening because they're talking about sports. I'm
What?
sorry. Hey, isn't it time you took the stress and worry out of last-minute hurricane preparations? What did he say? Well, the hurricane shutter outlet manufacturers easy-to-use accordion shutters and now provide expert installation, too. Call them at 954-237-7083. Hurricane Shutter Outlet features roll-downs, accordions, panels, too. Just let the Hurricane Shutter Outlet custom make or even install shutters for you. And don't wait too long because hurricane season is in full swing. Call right now, 954-237-7083, and get on your way to top-notch protection all the time. The Hurricane Shutter Outlet, family-owned and operated, licensed, insured, and Dade Broward and Palm Beach County approved. They stock all sizes of clear polycarbonate hurricane panels and aluminum panels, cut to your specifications and ready for pickup or delivery. The public, all contractors are welcome, too. Major credit cards accepted. Tell them that Neil told you to call and get $100 off on a minimum order of 350 square feet. The Hurricane Shutter Outlet, call 954-237-7083 or online at hurricaneshutteroutlet.com.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560.
Floridians, dumb as dirt.
And you're a despicable, nasty, and invisible, nauseating, odious hag. He's for not embarrassed as you flash your skinny, bony ass in skirts that hide your duct-tape gap. C-O-U-L, your daddy rules in hell. T-E-R, cold dirt, takes a camel toe to know what swells and smells.
All the time you're on the news, they can't get enough of you, spewing poison Nazi remarks. They point their cameras low when you're on a pundit show to see your panties in a wad. Obnoxiously belligerent, sermonizing ignorant, a poster child Republican clown. The media gushes over Ann with enormous manly hands and the biggest Adam's apple in town.
Maybe that guy from Port St. Lucie is down there looking, too, at his cell phone.
Oh, boy.
What a grotesque thought that is.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, speaking of our good friend Aishat Musharraf.
Yeah.
Pervert. In a setback for women's rights in Pakistan, the ruling party in Islamabad has caved into religious conservatives by dropping its plans to reform rape laws. Statutes known as the Hudud ordinances based on Sharia law. Hudud.
Who done it?
Done. That's right.
You dude?
No, not you, dude. Hudud. based on Sharia law, currently operate in Pakistan. They require a female rape victim to produce 4 male witnesses, to corroborate her account, or she risks facing a new charge of adultery.
Good, good system.
The ruling party in Islamabad, made up of a coalition of groups allied to President Pervert Musharraf, had hoped the new Protection of Women bill would place the crime of rape within the country's secular penal code, which works in tandem with Sharia. But the government said rape would remain a crime punished by Islamic law yesterday after conservatives in an opposition group threatened to walk out of Parliament in protest if the government pushed ahead with the reforms. If there are 4 witnesses, it'll be tried under Islamic law. If there are not, it'll be tried under the penal code, said the law minister, Mohammed Wazi Zafar. In the case of both adultery and rape, the judge will decide how to try the case. A new amended bill will now be presented to Parliament tomorrow. This news is a significant victory for the MMA, which have vehemently opposed any attempts to lessen the influence of Sharia. The Hudud ordinances were enshrined in Pakistani law in 1979 by General Zia-ul-Haq, in an attempt to appease the country's powerful religious elite following his military coup. They've been routinely criticized by local international rights groups. Previous governments have tried to repeal the laws, but failed at it. Pervert Musharraf had told rights groups he was willing to back plans for rape to be tried in the secular courts as part of his much-trumpeted enlightened moderation ideology. The timing of the amended bill will be embarrassing for Musharraf, who is touring Europe and the U.S. Pakistan's Western allies have pressured General Musharraf to improve the rights situation in his country, especially for women. Good luck. Who did it? There you go. These are our allies. These are our good buddies. Remember how they were screaming about the Taliban and how they repressed women and they had to dress up with the burqas and the jerkas and all the other stuff, and how the men had to shave their beard and they couldn't listen to music, all this other stuff? Sure makes them a lot different from those Pakis, doesn't it?
Sure.
And those Saudis, not to mention that. Well, 1,287 votes. We got 1,300 licked. In fact, I think I can go back to bed now. I'm all done. My as that caller said that one day, my work is done.
We got some music.
I don't want to play no music, man. Well, I might play some more of that Elvis.
Don't threaten us like that.
Well, that sounded like something from those old 40s.
You know it. 30s, as a matter of fact.
Wow.
29 to 38, that's the range of this stuff.
1929 to 1938, even before I was born.
Got it from Boca Brian. He calls this collection about 30s, man.
Excellent. Good timing. Man. See, the problem is, remember they were talking about they were going to make a Godfather 4, and they said,
whatever.
Yeah, for what? Everybody's been killed off already.
Right, they couldn't do a part 3 right, so just stop.
Who the hell was left alive at the end of Godfather 3? Not Michael.
Right.
Not Mary with the schnoz. Dad. Oh, sorry. Kay was still around.
Sure.
Not Fredo. He went out fishing.
I guess it was just Andy Garcia. Was it Vincent?
Oh, Vincent, yeah.
Yeah, that's him.
Didn't Don McLean do a song about him? A lot of people think it was about Vincent Van Gogh, but it was about Vincent Corleone.
What was it called?
2 of Lance Armstrong's former teammates said they used a performance-enhancing drug when they were getting ready for the 1999 Tour de France, according to a newspaper report. Why does anybody care about this?
I don't know.
Isn't that one of the things that really just amazed me, is that all the news and all the crap that they put on TV and the newspapers and even on the internets, and you look at it and you think to yourself, why does anybody care about this? You know, I mean, I can understand why people care about who's got the biggest ass,
right.
The best ass.
I sent you a picture of Vita Guerra, by the way.
So you
can see what all the
hubbub. Why do I have to see all these asses? I've seen a few asses in my time.
Sure, but you haven't seen an ass
I've worked with
like
many
Vita's.
I think you got one there. The sales manager's an ass. Boy, he just, you know, I don't cotton to that, you know what I'm saying? Whether it's from North Carolina, Tennessee, I just don't cotton to that kind of like just being ignored, you know? I'm trying to do them. I don't need the work. I get paid for it whether I do it or not, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, I know.
That's part of my deal. So I would prefer not to do any spots.
Well,
how's that, Chris? I'll just stop doing spots. You just pay me for $16 a day, and I'll just stop doing them, that's all. Maniac. Frankie Andrew, a 39-year-old former team captain, another teammate who requested anonymity because she still works in cycling, told the New York Times they used EPO in preparation for the 99 race when Armstrong won the first of his 7 titles in cycling's biggest race. Who cares? Now, what is EPO? Anybody know what that is, Josh?
I don't know.
No, I have no idea.
Environmental Protection Organization.
Andrew said he took EPO for a few races, is admitting the use now because he's worried doping is having a negative effect on the sport. Neither of the teammates ever had a positive test for performance-enhancing drugs. Both said they never saw Armstrong take any banned substances. Oh, there you go. Anybody care about cycling?
No.
I mean, that's a sport? That's a sport? Like some little kid is out there on a tricycle. Is that a sport?
If somebody's watching it, yeah.
I guess. And only if they're paying to watch it. I guess they don't. I guess they don't pay to. Do they pay to watch? I guess they pay to watch golf tournaments too, huh?
Yeah.
Do they charge people admission to go there and stand?
Of course they do. Yeah.
Oh my God! And people actually go to watch that crap. Watch people play golf.
Approaching the green now.
Oh my God! That is pathetic. Talk about.
I have no life.
And a black iron.
I'm not really sure. Watching people play cards or actually going out. I mean, you can turn your TV on and off. That's bad enough. You know, that's sad.
Mm.
But actually getting up and getting in the car or getting in a cab or schlepping somehow to watch other people play golf, that is really just.
I have no life.
Incredible. Oh, but Tiger is playing, and Mike Weir, the Canadian. Who cares? You know.
By the way,
sing.
EPO boosts your endurance. I'd pronounce it for you, but I can't.
EPO?
Yeah, just keep it at EPO.
Oh. Boost your endurance?
That's what it does.
It's an illegal substance. Thank God Lance Armstrong never took it.
The biggest names, the best talent.
We don't care.
This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Hate you.
I wrote basically all the songs on my album. I have 8 songs with Scott Storch, to the song Fat Joe, Jadakiss, and it's just a really fun album and just expresses me and who I am, and it's cool.
Paris Hilton on a scale of 1 to 10 is just like a 12.
I think I'm committing a crime by making a CD and you ask why I tend to cry when I hear myself singing. In Hollywood is where my pooch and me reside. Like Matthew Wilder, you can't break my stride. My lack of talent, I know, just can't be denied. Who's worth that hassle off for me? Now you decide. Are you satisfied? You think I got talent? Ooh, you're crazy. Think I got talent? Ooh, you're blind. I can't sing. I use lipstick. It's such a crime. Sit in the party, break it in half if you know karate. I can't sing. I use lipstick. It's such a crime.
Boy, is she a talent or what, huh?
No.
It's such a crime.
Anyway, she's on the poll for tomorrow. Paris Hilton. This is an excellent poll. Thank you, Steve. Hey, and you know who we haven't heard from in a long time with the polls? What's the guy that usually sends us the poll? Sean. What happened, Sean? But Steve fills in the breach, at least for tomorrow. What person do you think sums up what America is today? What a good question. Mm-hmm. And Steve's got a list, which I added a couple too. Katie Couric, Paris Hilton, speak of the devil, P. Diddy. Now, what do we call him now besides Jackass? T.O., and, of course, if they don't know who T.O. is, then they shouldn't be voting on it anyway. Jerry Falwell. I added Pat Robertson. Of course, George W. Bush and Donald Trump. Isn't that a good selection to start with?
Mm-hmm.
Thank you, Steve. Excellent job. By the way, I asked George this before the show today about whatever happened. There's never any follow-up. You know, you hear a story or you read about it in the papers.
Right.
There was that story about that schmuck that won, thought he won $250,000 at the, was it the Hard Rock, right?
Right.
The Seminole Hard Rock. He thought he won $250,000, and they came and they wined and dined and paraded him around. And they took his picture and they gave him the ceremonial make-believe check, $250,000. And come to find out that hours later, many hours later, They called him into the orifice and they said, it was a technical error, it was a glitch, and you didn't win anything.
Yeah.
So I'm waiting to find out what the follow-up is.
Right. He supposedly hired a lawyer, and then that's it. That's the last we heard.
And that's it. I would sue their ass for millions, just for the aggravation, just for the grief. I would sue their ass, man. I would nail their ugly asses to the wall. Wouldn't you?
Or at least scalp them.
No, seriously. If somebody came and actually said to you, you won the $250, and then they go through the whole ceremonial thing, and of course we have to check it out. First of all, what I don't understand, it wasn't in a slot machine either. It was in a swipe your card thing kind of deal.
Right.
So how much is to go wrong with that? I mean, a slot machine is very complicated. Have you ever looked in the insides of a slot machine?
Not lately, no.
No, seriously. Have you ever looked inside?
I imagine it's complicated.
Wow. There's all kinds of computer boards and this and wires hanging. It's complicated. But how complicated can be a swipe and wipe thing, you know?
There you go.
He swiped and they wiped. They wiped the floor with his ass, I guess. I'd like to find out more about what happened with that poor guy. I'm going to go to bat for that guy, and I'll split it with him. Actually, he was able to get $200. Wasn't it $200?
And a $50. That's $200
and a $50 meal coupon.
Right, $250 of Monopoly money and a coupon, $50.
Wow.
Restaurant coupon.
That's because they were pacifying him, so he had something to do while they were checking this all out. Before they took him in the room and said, "Sorry, bad mistake. You didn't win anything." I would have thrown a fit, man. I would have carried on like the world was coming to an end.
That's right.
I would have been spitting blood. But nevertheless, remember we had the story yesterday about I always like to follow up on things. And the follow-up on this story is nothing. It's just like Chandra Levy. Police investigating the death of Anna Nicole Smith, because, see, there's the kind of person that we care about. 20-year-old son said they have no evidence that he suffered a heart attack or that drugs were involved. The cause of the death remains under investigation as of this moment. The Nassau Guardian, citing unidentified sources, reported yesterday that Daniel Wayne Smith had died of a heart attack. Today, the newspaper said that a preliminary investigation found that he had antidepressants in his system. It cited sources close to the case. Antidepressants. Well, you'd know more about drugs than I would.
Mm-hmm.
Like what?
What about it?
Well, like what antidepressants would he have had, maybe?
Oh, I don't know, but remember what the problem with a lot of these antidepressants is that people keep killing themselves on them, so apparently they don't work so well.
Oh. Well, you're not depressed anymore.
Yeah.
Reginald Ferguson, Assistant Commissioner of the Royal Bahamian Police Force, dismissed the reports. That's just talk. We have no evidence at this time to suggest that he had any drugs. Earlier, the Commissioner told Peephole magazine there was no evidence at this time the young man had suffered a heart attack. He just died, 20 years old. That's kind of common, isn't it?
Sure.
Smith died Saturday while visiting his celebrity mother in the hospital 3 days after she gave birth to a girl. I think that's what it's all about. I think it was like a ego thing,
Okay.
The body was identified at the morgue Monday by Smith's lawyer, Howard K. Stern. See, I'm just reading that. I just like reading that name. Howard Stern, who is also handling arrangements for the funeral home. I'm going to tell you something. I was thinking about this yesterday while I had my TV on and I was in the kitchen, and I was spitting blood. Boy, sure spit a lot of blood up these days, because Wolf Blitzkrieg was on there. He was davening back and forth by whatever he was doing. And, in fact, I think he was rubbing his tits together.
Oh, no.
And I was thinking, if anybody deserves to get Stern, remember I told you about that day a month or two ago? That was before I found out what a Farbizen he was. But somebody called in and sterned him. I'm trying to remember what the hell that was all about. It was about some murder case.
Yeah.
Oh, I know what it was. It was about the John Bonet thing.
That's right.
Remember when they were John Mark carring us to death? Which, you notice we don't hear anything about that no more.
That was embarrassing,
And anyway, so they put this woman on the phone. And they Wolf Blitzkrieg goes breathlessly to her and puts her on the air, and she's got information, and she knew John Mark Carr in Alabama, and she starts in, and she says, well, John told me privately that Howard Stern told him to kill John Bonet. And so then, of course, they cut her off, and Wolf goes through this long, ponderous thing about, well, we've been what they call in the business sterned, and that was one of Howard Stern. I think that all Howard Stern's people ought to call Wolf Blitzkrieg with fake calls every day, because he's an idiot. He's a total phony, man, and doesn't belong on there pretending to be a news person. Now, that's the new deal now. With these news readers, they're like injecting their opinions. Like there was some bitch on MSNBC the other day, and I forget what they were talking about, something to do with 9/11 over the weekend, and one of the so-called pundits comes on there and makes some kind of a stupid statement, and she says, oh, I would tend to agree with that. Well, who cares whether you agree with it or not? You're just a news reader, bitch. What the hell are you giving your opinions for? You slut. Man, I can't. One of those dumb bimbos that they have on a weekend, you know, on MSNBC. That seems to be their speciality. Is put a dumb bimbo on.
I just can't stand that slut.
That's what I was thinking. Oh, speaking of idiots, there's Tony Snow.
Not offensive. How about we're training Iraqi troops so that they can defend their...
Well, if his voice get any higher, man, he'd start sounding like... Just like that.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers. Sports Radio 560 QAM.
Bandage. I f***ed him. Oh!
Hello, I'm Mary Cheney, Dick Cheney's gay lesbian daughter. The most famous lesbian since Eleanor Roosevelt. Or as Alan Diesel will tell you, a simple heathen like his daughter. I'm here to tell you about diesel power, an alternative energy source to help decrease our dependency on Middle East oil, so China can buy it and keep Walmart prices low. This is a new source of energy that could be developed by recycling used cooking oil and grease. So, save any used oil you have around the house. Baby oil, KY lubricants, or my personal favorite, the oil from a tuna can. Do your part for the war against terrorism, or as our fearless and almighty leader would say, tourism. Buy U.S. savings bonds and donate your appliances and rubber goods. Thank you.
I'm Dick Cheney, and I'm issuing a directive to whoever it is after this indecent advertisement shot.
Diesel power, there you go, right from the second family. 1,325 votes on the poll. How do you like that? Oh, 1,600 yesterday during the show, and 1,300 today. Are you ready for that?
Not ready for it. Let me back up.
Oh. So whatever happened with my question about that sales thing? Oh. Gary Loop. Who the hell is Gary Loop? I'm sure I'm pronouncing his name wrong. Too bad. I pronounce everything wrong here. I butcher all of this, and who gives a crap? He's professor of history and adjunct professor of comparative religion at Tufts University. Oh, God. See how I get choked up about that religious crap?
Mm-hmm.
A third to half of Americans still link Sodom and 9/11. The enduring power of ignorance and the need to fight it. I don't have time to read the whole thing, and you're probably pretty pleased about that. But anyway, now I'm talking about the audience, not you. If it was up to you, I'd just sit here and read nonstop from the time you started till 2 o'clock. Yeah, like that. Just like John Madden. Oh, and speaking of John Madden, I don't know if, I guess you watched a little bit of it, Josh, the Patriot-Bills game, as bad as it was?
No, I didn't watch any of the game. I saw the highlights.
You know who was doing that game? Not only did I have to suffer through a horrible first half and grotesque, nearly lost performance to a marginal team, but Phil Simms was doing that game.
Oh, God.
Now, why do I deserve that? First game of the season, why do I deserve a shot like that, a shot in the ass? Phil Simms.
You know, there's not a color guy who does the NFL because now you got Phil Simms, you got Chris Collinsworth, and Joe Theismann.
Oh,
which is hurting. They all just
and
talk.
Madden, who I used to like, who just is motor mouth now. He must be getting fed by the word. They must feed him based on how many times he speaks. God, he just never shuts up. Oh, let's see. Here's the facts. It says, unfortunately, the guy that got screwed out of his money. No, see, I know that. That was in the stories because the U.S. Oh, that's right. He can't sue them. That's what it is. I'm glad that this facts are faxed in because I'm thinking that I knew this, but it never dawned on me that you can't not only have the U.S. courts have no jurisdiction because it's on Indian land. If you're at one of the Indian casinos and you're injured, you can't sue them over that either. So that's another good reason not to go there. With those make-believe slot machines. And by the way, when are the real machines coming in? You know, Fred Grimm wrote that article weeks and weeks ago about how this whole slot machine thing was being held up in limbo. Again, where's the follow-up? It wasn't even a news story. It was in his column. Where is the information? You know, I feel like Patrick McGowan. I feel like the prisoner. Are you starting with Mark Lindsay and the Raiders now, an Indian reservation? Always knew you were a
Indian killer.
Nice talking.
Isn't that Mark Lindsay and the Raiders?
Yes, it is.
I can't even hear it.
We don't have a lot of Indian music in here.
No. Well, thank God for that. We don't want to piss off the Indians. So this guy cannot, he hired a lawyer, but his options, I guess, are limited because it's on Indian and the U.S. courts have no jury. They can do whatever the hell they want. Like, you know, peddling all those cancer sticks with the worms in them, stuff like that. Anyway, Gary Loop writes, the caption of the AngusReed.com report was, some Americans still link Hussein to 9/11. Some indeed, he says. As of September 2006, now, this month, asked, do you think there is a link between Saddam Hussein and the 9/11 terrorist attacks? 46% of Americans said
yes,
and 50% said
no.
4% said we don't know. In other words, fully half of Americans linked Saddam with the 9/11 attacks. Poll was taken September 1 through 5. Of course, it's all in the wording of these questions. There might have been a different result if the pollsters would have asked, do you still think there's a link between Saddam Hussein and the 9/11 terrorist attacks? Or, given the fact that no expert's been able to establish any evidence for an operative relationship between Al-Qaeda and Saddam, and that only people who never pay attention to the news think that anymore, do you still personally think that there's a link? In other words, if you're a moron, you know. Anyway, the just-published Angus Reid poll asked a second question. Do you think former Iraqi President Saddam Hussein was personally involved in the 9/11 terrorist attacks? This is a significantly different question. I can see why lots of people would believe there's some link between Saddam and 9/11. I think about how students process information in history classes as they prepare for exams. Any historical synopsis of the past 5 years following 9/11 will have to note that soon after the Al-Qaeda attacks, the Bush administration started preparing to invade Iraq, and that the U.S. president repeatedly linked 9/11 and the Iraqi president. So in that sense, yes, there is a link, and any college freshman memorizing for a U.S. history test some 50 years from now will have reason to link in some way 9/11 and Saddam. But this second question implicitly asked about responsibility, about blame. It is depressing to note that 43% of Americans polled answered in the affirmative, yes, a narrow majority to the 52% who said no. After all the facts that have come to light, all the exposure that's been done, you can just hear the neocon sigh of relief at this extraordinary statement of manipulable or ignorance, the power of Fox News, he says. How do you like that?
I like it. Not.
Pathetic. Dumber than a box of Cracker Jacks, man. Speaking of Cracker Jacks, how about those Marlins? Oh! We got more Marlins and Mets tonight. Any interest?
No.
How about a little bit? We had that, what was her name, that pitched the no-hitter?
Annabelle.
Annabelle? What are you laughing about? That's her name, man, Annabelle.
I got it.
What's her last name?
Sanchez.
Annabelle Sanchez. Oh, that's right. Everybody's named Sanchez. And Rodriguez and Schwartz.
C.
And, how about that Jeff Conine, man? He got that big hit the other day, and they still came back and won the 10th inning. That's old news, though. That was over the weekend. I did see that. I'm probably one of the very few, you know. Nobody pays any attention. This is the hottest ticket in town. They have the freaking Marlins, man. They're 2 games over 500 now. Am I right?
You're right. And 2
games over. How far are they back? 2 back of the wild card?
That's right.
Because I guess the Padres didn't play yesterday, so they picked up a half game?
Yes.
By smashing the Mets, obliterating 16-5, like a gigantic juggernaut, like a powerhouse, out of control, just trashing and thrashing everything in their wake. And does anybody care?
No.
Does anybody show up at these games?
No.
No, about 3,000-4,000 Mets fans and 2,000 so-called Marlin fans, who at least showed up anyway. See, that's the point. How can you be out of touch in a community that's dead as a doornail, you know? Walking death, walking and creeping. You can smell it all the way here.
The biggest names, the best talent. This is Neil Rogers, Sports Radio 560 QA.